he's not here yet, and we're live. So yeah, this is like I named this a planning session because I was thinking that probably a lot of what we're going to do in this session, especially once Sam joins, like if Sam doesn't join for some reason, which I can't think of a reason why he wouldn't, but if he doesn't for some reason, then then maybe we will do less of like planning stuff and more like maybe picking something to pair on. But I called it a planning session because I was kind of thinking that Sam would probably want to be able to like look at the board and see where we're at and do some reviews and get some stuff merged in. And he did mention something about like needing to push things onto the staging server and that kind of thing. So I guess. Is there anything in particular that you were saying off air? You were saying that
yeah, we might find something to work on. I don't know, because there's a lot going on this week, and I don't know what's open, what's not.
Yeah, for sure. Like, so I wonder where Mike is. Mike, I thought wanted to. Anyways, so I'm gonna share my screen. I've started taking notes. I've got like a dual screen thing going on at the moment. I'm not sure if that's going to be annoying to you or if you can actually see it. I noticed that I don't. Unfortunately, Linux doesn't give you the option of like sharing one or the other. Like you can only share either or both, or you can share like one window. Yeah, which is annoying. So is there anything that you oh sorry, so I started saying so I'm going to put here that you want to find an issue to work on. Let's see, take the bold off, take that off, and find issue to work on. You have some PRs that you put in that you want to get reviewed?
They were reviewed, but yeah, I've done some changes, so it probably someone has to look on it again.
PR reviews / get merged in or something. That we'll need to wait for. I mean, I can have a look and give a PR review, but we'll need to wait till Sam gets here to merge stuff. But I know that's on a list of important things for him as well. Is there anything else?
Yeah, what's going on with the documentation? Because now I'm on another computer. I set up the website one Docker again. But this under construction section, there is a link. I don't remember now, but it says something about how to get started. But it it gives 404.
Yes.
So, I don't know if someone will work on it.
Yeah, I mean that would be great. I think that Carl had said that he would help out with it, but I don't think. I mean, I don't want to speak for him, but I don't think that he was saying in any way that he wanted to do the whole thing by himself or anything like that. So I think that's kind of an open thing. I think he did put in like, for example, so he was working on getting set up, and he's now set up. And he put in, if I could just come back here to the waffle, he put in a PR, for example, to update the. Oh, whoops! What am I doing? Don't do that. Okay. Update the Ubuntu, like the manual install notes. And he said it's a work in progress. I'm not sure. 2691. Oh, so that's improving that's this ticket here. So like it is in progress, but there's so many different pages that and I kind of like I understand why he logically why he started with the install notes, because he was installing at the same time. But like I think a good logical place to start would be that the first thing that people see, which is what you were referencing a second ago, which is this. Like we have this under construction thing. And then we have this that
I was especially looking for the environment variables, and I couldn't find them. I had to go and find my PR, and because I've done some changes to that, so I've used it from there. yeah, but as I say, you know, you got how to get started, and it gives you 404. So.
And then there's like this other under construction. So like either, so I don't know. I mean, either we need to maybe remove this link, or ideally we want to be able to like link this to something that actually exists, right?
Yeah, there was a project set up a bit higher. So what's this? Maybe we can use this.
Yeah. This is like to get it set up. I mean, yeah, so I think, you know, Sam will have to start on, but, you know, like just by the name of this, how to use the site. Like, so this, I guess, would probably live if we have another repo that, you know, you're welcome to pull down, Agile Ventures. And this has like a lot of the, you know, code of conduct, classroom guidelines, getting started, you know, this is what's being pulled in for the site. I'm not sure if like how to use the site was supposed to be here, although we have this, it says here it's in the develop docs how to use. So if I come here to the code, we have docs, develop branch, docs. So like, yeah, I mean, it just looks like it's missing, you know, a markdown. So like, you know, I think ideally, you know, we could just add this markdown, how to use the site.md here, and then that will link to something. And then we could work on like actually putting some meaningful content in there that, you know, that I guess, I mean, how to use the site, or, you know, or maybe instead of doing that, instead of saying how, you know, linking to this, maybe it would link to these ones here that are, I mean, this getting started thing. You know, obviously we'd need to talk to Sam and see what he thinks. But like this getting started thing is where, I don't know, have you been to this?
Yeah. That's what's on the site. That's
yeah, exactly.
the same.
Yeah. So like maybe, I mean, maybe that's a logical. No, well, I guess not, because
you know, because this README what I'm talking about, it was especially for this you know, website one. So maybe it's better to link something about setting it up there.
yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. You know,
so I mean, we could add this how to use the site.md, and then that would stop giving this 404 error. And then we could work on like what kinds of things that we want to add for contents, like, you know, what are the most important things to highlight as far as like how to use the site as a developer or as a, you know, a project owner, and some of the cool features and that kind of thing, you know. And then that would not link to a dead, you know, a dead link anymore, and potentially we could remove this under construction. Hey, Carl.
Hi.
How's it going?
Hi.
So, we were just talking. We were going to write down some things that we were going to talk about in this planning session, and kind of waiting for Sam. We thought supposed to be joining us. So Daniel was just asking about how the documentation is coming along, and I was pointing him to the PR that you put in. I don't know how long you've been here, so maybe you already heard all that. So how to use the site MD is dead link. Is that something that you wanted to work on, Daniel?
You know, I found it not long ago, so I am thinking, you know, yeah, I can. Not too much because, you know, English is not my primary language, so don't want to write too much.
We can definitely collaborate on it, you know. Like if you wanted to, I mean, like if you could, for example, as a first thing, like set up, like get this markdown added to, so that it actually points to somewhere, then we could work on like, you know, providing some screenshots and talking to Sam about like the type of content he wants to add there. And I can, you know, I can definitely help out with that. Like, I'm not suggesting you do by yourself, but yeah, like if you're interested in helping out with that.
I will open the file first. And
is there anything else real quick?
No. I'm just looking for something, you know, to work on.
Okay, cool. And hopefully we'll find you something that, yeah, I mean, we'll find you something that involves something more exciting than helping out with documentation. Although, you know, some people might really love helping out with documentation. I think it's one of those things that, like, it's something it's not my favorite thing to do, but is a good way to contribute, and is something that I think everyone understands is necessary to make, you know, like, people getting set up like the process better, and you know, that kind of thing. So cool. Carl, anything you want to add to the list of stuff that we should talk about in this meeting?
Give me a moment.
You want to get out of?
Well, I have some things, some like personal questions. For example, like I run the cucumber tests, how many are supposed to be passing? Or
Yeah, I mean, they should all be passing, but that doesn't mean that they, like, you know, there are definitely intermittent failing tests. So there is that, you know.
Because I feel like, so theoretically, I should have my environment running and passing all the tests before I work on other things. And then yesterday we noticed that we had to change some tests because some changes were made and they were failing. So we're working on the issue yesterday.
Yes. Yeah, that was like, not, you know, normally I think, like, in an ideal world, like, you won't need to be changing other tests that have nothing to do with what you're working on. Yeah, Sam just making a joke here about using Bybug and not Bri. I could try it, but anyways, yeah, like, so that was like a very specific, like, you know, case that we were changing, like, so the way VCR works, you know, like, that I was talking about yesterday, is, you know, that when we speak to the API, like, and ask for information, it's possible, you know, it's definitely, like, that information can change, especially when it's, like, to do with, like, GitHub commits. So, like, we would expect that, you know, the first time that we recorded that that cassette, VCR cassette, that there would be, you know, X's number of or X number of commits that the API would send back, and then we record that, and then from then on, like, the test will not hit the GitHub API anymore. It will go and look at that VCR, and it'll say, like, okay, it'll, like, mock that network interaction, right?
My question is actually not specific to the VCR thing. It's a general question of, like, if my tests aren't passing, how do I know if it's a problem with my environment, or, you know, like,
yeah,
or not? Like, how do we know when all the tests are passing in the develop branch or not?
Yeah, cool. So I guess, like, the thing is that when you run the whole suite of tests, like, if you're coming up with, like, a lot of failing tests, like, meaning, like, that, like, I think you came out with, like, 22 when you were running it in Cucumber.
I don't remember. I have a screenshot on my laptop.
Yeah, it was something like that. That is
how much is too much? How many?
I mean,
are too many?
22 is probably not intermittent failing tests. Like, if I run the whole suite of tests on my end, there are sometimes I'll have, like, you know, between 2 and 5 maybe. And then the way to check if it's intermittently failing is, like, you know, I mean, remember, like, this is at a point where you haven't really made any changes, right? You're just, like, setting up the environment and you're running the test for the first time to check to see if it all works. And you know, so, yeah. And then, like, if you grab, like, the specific test and you run that one in isolation, does it still fail? And if it does, then what's the failure telling you, you know? Because then it's a lot easier to consume that information than it is if you, like, have the, you know, having run the whole suite of tests and you have all those failures, it can be difficult to, like, try to debug going up all the way to, you know, to where the failure occurred the first time or the last time. So then, and also, if it's an intermittent failing test, like, there are times that I'll grab it and run it and it'll fail again. And some of that you just kind of need to, you'll just unfortunately need to learn, like, oh, this Hangouts feature or this sign in feature is intermittently failing. But if you run it like in isolation twice and it's still failing, then it's probably something else, you know?
All right.
Besides like an intermittent, but we can have a look, you know, like that's what this session is for. Like, if, you know, getting you to where you like are set up and, you know, are comfortable like running the stuff is, you know, part of the reason we're having this meeting, you know? So you have that kind of like the issue, the tests are not passing and not sure if there might be something wrong with setting up the environment or not. So I've put that there. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about in the meeting? I saw that you put in a couple PRs, so hopefully, I think, you know, especially now that Sam is here, I think that's part of the agenda is to have a look at the existing PRs and stuff.
I did also want to.
Okay, go on.
I didn't know who was talking to now after you. I thought you meant me. Yeah, there are some things I wanted to talk about, and I guess Dan also.
So I'm kind of making notes of the things that we want to talk about. So shoot, what do you want to talk about?
So I'm thinking, as well about the tests yesterday, because I think they are too much tied to the request. Like, let's say we are checking if we got, I don't know, 4,371 something on GitHub. Maybe we should only check if it's a number and it's more than 4,000 and less than, I don't know, 10,000, and you know, then it will, it won't fail every time. So every time you record the cassettes.
Yeah, I mean, in an ideal world, like we don't like the cassettes, like those cassettes that are communicating with the GitHub, like they were only re-recorded because of that sensitive data. And you know, I mean, I can't think of another, like, when we would want to record that again. Like maybe we would record it again when like the GitHub API changes. But other than that, like those tests are not communicating anymore with the GitHub API. Like if we remove VCR, then, you know, that might be, but yeah, I get your overall point. And Carl, what was it that you wanted to talk about?
Well, so the description was like, find 3 items to vote on for this session. So I just looked at some. One of the things I did want to talk about is the can we remove Bower. I created an issue like you suggested.
Yep.
And I did try it out on my laptop with creating a branch and like trying to figure out if we can remove Bower. And that's also tied with the tests. So like ideally I'd run tests and let's say they all pass. And then if I actually go ahead and remove Bower and run the tests again and some fail, I could assume that it's to do with Bower.
Yeah, that could be an assumption. I mean, it's particularly challenging. I've found like with having run, for example, Bower install, and then moving to a different branch, for example, and removing it, and then like coming to conclusions, because like I ran into an issue, for example, that when I was doing the Docker stuff for Website 1, where it was working on mine, but that was because I had those dependencies installed locally, and then when other people were trying it out, it wasn't working for them because they had never actually gotten set up locally and installed those dependencies. So I mean, it could be, and we can definitely have a closer look at that and get Sam's opinion and look at the code base. Anything else that you want to add to the agenda? No. Carl?
I saw one issue. It says remove Phantom.js.
Yeah.
2 months ago.
Yep. I opened that issue and put in a PR, and we're at the state of like 150 failing tests. So that one's kind of that's a tricky one. I mean, that's kind of my dream is to move on from Phantom.js because it's deprecated and you know, headless Scrum is supposedly the future, but it seemed like a big time sink. I do have I did write a blog about it if you're interested in that kind of stuff. It like weighs some of the different options, and then it's kind of gotten just prioritized down. But yeah, I mean, we could take a look if you're interested.
You can send me the link to the blog sometime. I don't think it sounds like a big issue, so nothing for now.
Or you can paste it to the notes.
Yeah, true. I can do that. I can find that, and I'm not a particularly good blogger. It was kind of Sam's idea to get my thoughts down and stop ranting so much about it in the scrums.
I'd also try
and
boost your self-esteem so that you start to think of yourself as a good blogger, because you are a good blogger, and a bad blogger.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's like one of the, I don't know many people that roll out of bed and just become good bloggers overnight. It's something you have to practice, and if you never,
you can always get better. But I mean, you're starting from a base of awesome, so don't sell yourself short.
Well, thank you. And Sam, you have agenda items for the website One Planning.
Well, I guess I mean, things I as I mentioned in the Scrum earlier, we've got kind of a backlog of stuff that needs to be deployed, other pull requests that need to be reviewed. So I in the background here, I'm not showing my screen. I'm starting to try and I've got some of the latest code up on staging, and I'm just doing my manual checks that things that are in the log there. So that's something that we could look at together if people are interested in it. There's also reviewing the board. I mean, obviously there's various features being mentioned there. We could be reviewing the waffle board to try and prioritize amongst the different features. If people are well, I will work on this or work on this, but which is the one that the project needs the most. So we could be reviewing the waffle board. Is that the those are.
Yeah, I think you probably can't see it. Daniel was wanting to find an issue to work on, for example. So I think that would. I was assuming that was something that we would do. So when you say if people are interested, you're talking about seeing the workflow that goes from develop to staging to production.
Well, I mean that's the bigger picture. I mean, what I've got right now, as I can show you very quickly. I mean, I've turned the staging server on because it costs us money to run the staging server. So having successfully deployed the latest load of stuff that I've pulled from develop into staging, I'm now looking through, it's gone here, looking through the history of the recent, stuff. This is the staging branch, and these are all the things that are on it. A lot of them are automated updates from Dependabot, so that makes it a bit, but we have got this Amazon Smile banner from someone called Daniel Kukula, and I've just checked that is live on staging and appears to be working right here.
Yay!
Woo! So that's I've done check one, and basically now I'm kind of going through. Right, Nick, I've just run. There was a special rate task. I've run that for Nick, and then there's going through and just checking, other things. Clearly the site's working on staging. There's maybe a couple of things to do there, and that's potentially quite short. And then fire and forget, I rebased the stuff into the master branch, and then when that actually builds, it would go live on staging. So that would be a nice thing. We could probably do that in the space of 5 or 10 minutes. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I was just wondering, the one I was really interested in on that is that ensure paying users can navigate to update their card details. Is that do you have in that environment? Do you have a premium or premium mob member that you could go and check and see if that's working?
Well, that would be one of the things for us to look at now. So shall we start off with I mean, I guess it's there's a tempting thing, and I've tempted you in, and so shall we spend 5 more minutes on just reviewing this staging so that we can get at least Daniel's great change live? What do you say? Or are people no, don't bore us with this awful DevOps stuff, please? We want to start getting immediately.
Oh, go on.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm also interested.
I think it's important because we're going to be hopefully merging more stuff into develop, and then
we've got to get this out of the way so we can get more stuff in. Yeah.
Exactly.
So There's a good question about the. So yeah, that is one there about the car details. My account that I've just logged into on this is not a premium one, so I can't immediately see it. Yeah, so I'm not immediately sure how to check that one in that context. I'm just trying to think. I assume what I'm seeing here is that like all the things. This is like saying like Origin Master there. So these are the new ones. So I mean, the README one, obviously they've gone live already. And yeah, so this one, I mean, so there's this one, and I was just about like, but this thing about null users having an ID and so on. Nick's not around. Like, how would we check that? There's like presumably somewhere there's a project that is missing a user. This was a pull request from Nick to kind of make it so when you have like a user that's no longer in the system, it kind of doesn't screw up. But so I've run the rake task, the site's still running, but I don't know how to check that it's working correctly. I don't know if you remember that ticket at all, Matt.
No, I don't. But you presumably have unit tests to.
Yeah, but of course that's the I mean nothing would have got to this stage if all of the unit tests and acceptances were not passing.
Yeah.
So those tests are all passing.
But you want to test it.
But yeah, exactly as we saw previously with the join button for mob events, is you can have everything all the tests passing and then it still doesn't actually work.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean the tests are actually testing what you think it is testing.
Indeed, often a problem. But yeah, clearly you're more familiar with this one. Ensure paying users can navigate to update their car details. Where would we see that in the site if it was present?
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess what we want is that you don't see that, but you would go to the profile page
of your personal profile page.
Yeah. So then you should not see that if you're not a premium member.
Right. So and would I see it here or would I see it on this page?
No, it's on the currently it's on the, although I think we could refactor it. Currently it's like in between the edit and the set status, and it's like a button. So it's like, I don't think it's the best UX, but
better than nothing. Yeah, absolutely. So I guess what we could do is we could go to, I wonder if we could go to premium members like this, and we could look at a premium member, and we could see they don't. Yeah, I don't see it for them, which I think. But yeah, so at the moment, I don't know that I have a good way of logging in as a. But you're a premium member. Do you want to go to here and log in as a premium member?
I think I am a premium member.
I think Daniel is a premium member, but this is like a somewhat older version of the database on the staging server. So it's yeah, you're doing it. You're sharing two screens, Matt. It's like
I know it's distracting, isn't it?
Oh no. Well, it's I just wish I could sort of like put the stack of the screen one on top of the other, so we could.
I mean, yeah, that. No, is that?
You're logged in.
I'm logged in.
Good.
So it's saying I'm a basic member, so maybe.
Okay, so you're not in there.
Yeah, either that or maybe when I first.
Yeah, this may be old. It may be since you got that sponsorship at some point, and this and the other. So I mean, I guess it's a question there of, do we say, well, the site's at least working, and it's not horribly broken. I guess. We're not really set up. I guess, do I have a way to...
This is something I think like...
I can upgrade to premium in here. Actually, did you want to just try upgrading to premium in there?
Sure.
Even via PayPal? Because that was the other thing is we did... Do you want to... oh yeah, stay logged in as yourself. Because that was one of the other things that was one of the key items for this week is the last person to sign up for Premium Mob via...
oh.
Yeah... That's on staging, and that may rather than from there, can you click through the premium page and try and sign up for premium? Does it let you if you try to go to Premium Mob? I guess what I should do quickly is kind of do Heroku log minus 150 NT minus
get premium PayPal. You said.
Yeah, you could try that. We do have like all of these kind of like fake. Don't use Stripe. We've got we do have a whole series of fake PayPal users that could be used for that. What happens if you click on the PayPal one there? probably going to go to PayPal, and then it's logged in as you. I don't. Yeah, that's going to be, I think, fiddly. Maybe I should do that. We don't want to get sidetracked with this. If just go back one and see, because what Stripe is supposed to be configured to work with test servers. It's like all the testing stuff. So you could like go on there and click that one. Yeah, and then you could like put in like do like Matt WR18 plus AV staging test. You know, like create like the fake email address, and then there are in the testing setup. Does it say somewhere around the edge like test mode? Can you see?
Remember me, monthly subscription. No.
So you can put in like the card that automatically works on the testing version is like 42424242, like just all 4s and 2s and 4s and 2s and 4s and 2s, and then as long as you give it a expiry date in the future and just any CVC, then in principle that will work in the test mode. Although usually if it is in the test mode, then it would be so don't click remember me and just see. I mean, I guess the worst that happens is it just rejects.
Your card was declined.
Oh yeah, so that's
live mode.
Yeah. So we're in a situation there. We haven't got an easy way. I mean, I guess
could actually get someone to upgrade to Premium Mob.
Well, we don't want people paying money like that, do we? I guess I'll just check that I've got the right syntax for them. But
Carl, are you a Premium Mob member yet?
what we can do is we can go into. I could see on my screen. I'm going to like Heroku Rails console into the staging environment, and we could run a little script that I have and like upgrade you, Matt, there to have premium membership. And I think if I can find it, this little premium script, and hopefully
I actually meant to ask since the beginning. Don't you also have like test user accounts, like a premium test user account and a normal test user account?
Well, we do within the testing environment, but this is one of the interesting things about the state. I mean, I guess there's in principle, no reason why we couldn't create that in the staging environment, but then those would sort of exist within the product, because we keep basically kind of copying over the production environment to the staging environment to make it realistic, so that the staging environment is a realistic thing. I mean, yeah, I mean, that would be a good thing to create. Would be we got this development place that I usually don't turn on because, you know, it's like got fake data in it, and I'm like, well, let's just go straight to seeing the live data. But yeah, we could have, like, I certainly do on the develop server have some of those accounts as you describe.
We could though, like one of in our seeds file, we could create like premium members, can't we? Like yes, we can. Although they don't necessarily, gosh, what's the word? They don't necessarily
having it in the seeds file doesn't necessarily create a super easy way to get it onto the one of these servers that's running in production mode. Although you can do. I mean, there's this whole thing about the different. You know, are you running it in staging mode versus production mode versus? Yeah, I'm just. I mean, I do.
I think that would help for developers to be able to like check it themselves.
Oh yes.
Okay.
If what you'd have like documentation that says we've got these two test users if you want to try out or see what it looks like for a premium member or a standard member.
Yeah.
So I understood it. You were saying, well, we could do that, but you only have test users like that in your staging environment.
We have it in the. Well, we have our develop. We actually have 3 different servers: the production server, the staging server, and the develop server. And the develop server has some. I guess it's some that I've upgraded. I haven't set it up so that we've got like a series of different users to log in with. I know Met Plus, which will be sprinting on the week after next. They have a whole like part of their README includes that. So that would be a good thing to do. Actually, is to have those and put them in the. Yeah, exactly as Matt's saying. Is have those kinds of users in the seeds file to allow developers to sort of easily check locally what the site looks like to a variety of different users.
Yeah, that would be good to have.
Yeah, definitely. Well,
and I mean, there's nothing against having a test user or 2 on the live on the production server, is there?
I guess. I mean, I guess to the extent that that like a premium user on the production server, if that information that means that anybody could get access to the things that they're supposed to only get access to via payment if they had the credentials for that testing entity. I mean, you know, not that one imagines that it's not like we're Fort Knox or anything. We haven't got like amazing. Well, actually, we have. We've got amazing gold. Everybody wants it, and we must keep it safe. You know what I mean?
Right, but it's a security measure not to have a test user on the production server.
Right.
So I added there. I'm adding a ticket to improve our seed file. I was thinking it's not because it's not just users. There's also like adding subscriptions and plans.
Yep. Yeah.
Is there anything else you can think of off the top of your head that would be nice to add there that we don't have? We have projects. We have events. We have event instances.
Difficult for me to think of other things just now as I'm setting you up so that you've got this thing here. I mean, if you create the ticket and then we can go back around there. But I think if you now reload that staging environment, I think you should find that you will have Premium Mob enabled.
All right, let's do that.
Or at least I hope you will. I mean, you know, it may just not have worked at all.
Is that here? That's something else. Where am I? I have too many tabs. I'm learning too much from you.
No, you have not enough tabs. There was always
you're having an influence on me.
Not enough tabs. So that's like the right tab. Yeah, is that not? Oh no, that's wait, that's www Agile Adventures. That was just replace the www with staging. See in the see that you're on the live site there.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
that's interesting. I mean, maybe that's why it was.
No, because like it was, you can see there's a difference. Like on the live it was Matthew Ryder. And this
but anyway, go to your profile page there. And okay, so we've got the update card details. So you could click on it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So
and we do a test that you can enter the details.
But if you click the update card details, do you see? We're definitely on staging. Yeah. See, now we see test mode. See, I think actually you could have signed up for Premium Mob yourself on there. Like, I think the reason it didn't work the last time around is that we were accidentally on the production server and not the staging server.
Yeah.
But yeah, so here you could go ahead and you could do that entering of card details.
Oh, this is the email. Sorry. At WR plus AV staging test at gmail.com. And then type 3.
Hello.
Hey, I've updated my card details.
Right, solid.
Oh, apologies, but something has gone wrong with changing your card details.
So, I mean, it's difficult to know if that's because it's the staging environment or...
I mean, it came up with that green thing that said it was successful as far as that, but like...
Yeah, as far as that one's concerned.
Is this because the card details are not valid? Like it's failing validation?
No, see, that's in the test mode there. And so, in principle, if it was like 424242 all the way through, then that should have. Oh, that's interesting. Stripe error while updating card info. No such customer. Yeah, so I think that's. Yeah, I think in the context, that's sort of what we would expect. Like probably in order for that to have like really kind of completely worked, it would have had to. I'd have had to make you Premium Mob, but also give you like a user ID that corresponded to a customer that existed in the Stripe thing. So if rather than me hacking it on the back end, if you'd been on the staging server with the test yellow and you'd signed up for Premium Mob there, in principle it all would have worked. I mean, this is I'm now inspecting the error in the log about what we got there. Is that we're getting the response from the Stripe test server saying that there's no such customer, which is the way I set it up. I set the payment sources.
So the reason why is because when you're on the staging environment, you click on Get Started with Premium Mob, it automatically sends you to the production site.
Okay, right, and that's the URLs in the.
I think this is actually hard coded in. We were looking the other day, Peter and I, and it's hard coded in for www. So like even if it's on the staging server, it would,
so that's not ideal. But so that if you go back one page, these are pages that are on AV.
Yeah.
So yeah, ideally they wouldn't be hard coded. So we could open another issue on the AV site. Anyway, I think that's probably enough due diligence, I would say, for the moment, that we can like push that out onto staging. I mean, onto production. So I'm going to quickly do that and allow us to move on to other things. So I'm going to do git rebase staging, and then I'm going to do git push origin master. And if the tests pass, and then we don't get any intermittent failures, that will go out live. So does that direct us that the next thing that we should do is we should move on to reviewing the board?
I think so.
And perhaps you could bring up that list of things that we had from Carl and Daniel previously, and we can see where.
Yeah. So I need to work on PR servers, get merged in. We talked about documentation. Like this is a dead link that we need to add.
Right.
So we're talking about improving documentation.
I guess so. Is anybody blocked on PRs that needs review?
I wouldn't say I'm blocked. I have PRs that I put in that. So this is staging now. But anyways, I think that like they need to be reviewed before they're moved forward. But
yes, I was particularly thinking of Daniel and Carl.
I just pushed one about the tests, sponsored tests. So someone reviewed this, and I made some changes, and now it's stopped.
Okay, cool. So, but yeah, so it's ready to be merged in, but it's not like there's like you're stuck knowing what. Yeah, so it sounds like the pull requests are under control. I guess the Carl and Daniel, have you both seen the Waffle board?
Yeah.
With Waffle? Yeah. So
we've seen it.
That's great. And so, yeah, I mean, that's sort of a job to be done is to work through these, and then we've got all the things that are in progress. Yeah, go on.
I was just going to say, Carl put in this PR for the GitHub API sensitive data is filtered out. That's kind of seems like a priority to get merged.
Yeah, that would be great to get that moved through. Yeah, fantastic. I mean, I'm just sort of wondering how we organize ourselves. Like, I could go off or just be fade into the background and be reviewing PRs. With the number of us that we've got here, I mean, we could be splitting into separate pairs. I guess both Daniel and Carl, you're looking for new, interesting things to work on. Is that right?
Exactly?
Yeah.
Not today.
Not today for Carl, but for
in future.
Yeah. Well, in my mind, the highest priority is that kind of that, you know, can we track down why that person signed up to Premium Mob with PayPal got 404? Is there a high priority thing from your point of view, Matt? Are you still in the process of work, the stuff that you're doing yesterday with Michael for private mob events?
I mean, I could have a review with Michael, but I feel like that's kind of done. And just waiting for a review.
Okay.
I mean, you know, I might be wrong. Like, I've written unit tests for the other use case, which is like the YouTube link.
Yeah. Okay, great.
And also acceptance tests for that. And I can't think of anything else that we would need to do, but that's I'm sure.
Well, yeah. So I would say, I mean, also that was, So I mean, I would say in the ready column, right? The two highest priorities are these ones that I'll just drag to the top of the ready column with the idea that there's the ones at the top are high priority. This one's actually marked specifically as high priority. I mean, and these are high priority because they're affecting people who are paying money and sustaining us. So we must fix those things for them. So there was one, actually we saw that like we actually replicated part of that error on the staging server there. And then there was this other thing of like the premium mob sign up going 404. So I mean, I'm happy to leave the staging server running. It says like maybe Carl has to go soon, but maybe Matt, and possibly Michael and Daniel, if you wanted to start investigating these, that would be fantastic, or something completely different. What do you think?
Yeah, we can go through it.
Yeah, I mean, I already put there like if you had any ideas, and then you said some ideas, but that doesn't really make it clear to me. But I mean, we could try having a look at it. Yeah.
Yes, I didn't quite understand what you're saying there. That I've said some ideas and they're not clear to you. You mean about causes for why it might be a problem?
Yeah. No, not for why it might be a problem. I understand why it might be a problem, but how to fix it is not clear.
No, I don't know how to fix it either. So it's kind of like I'll stay here.
I'm not. I guess I'm not even sure if it is like an actual problem, because like, okay, they came across this. I came across it because I wasn't actually a premium mob member. Maybe I don't know. The person, this Sebastian Peters, is a premium mob member for sure. That does have a premium mob.
The guy Seb who encountered this. This was the era trying to update his card details. Yeah, has been paying regularly on Stripe for like a year and a half. Mm-hmm. So, and I think he's got round it by now, just creating another account. It's, yeah. I mean, this one's maybe more difficult to trick down. That one, you know, we're just releasing something that allows more people to find that thing more easily. Certainly, with the staging server running, it's an opportunity to do more rigorous tests on it. I mean, this one that, you know, doing the PayPal thing, I mean, I can provide all of these bits and pieces. I mean, I guess both of these are kind of DevOpsy things that rely upon knowledge of all this setup. So maybe it's easier if I'm leading them, and you folks would prefer something that's a bit, you know, less to do with a third-party service and just, you know, like this adjusting what gets shown on the event page when the event is live, like just moving some of the boxes around for the events pages and stuff.
I mean, I'm a night shift worker, and you know, I got lots of time during the night, so I want to have something I can work alone, even, you know, when I got time. So nothing, much complicated, but you know, just something then where I can, you know, sit wherever I get time.
Yeah. Well, I think what I'll do is I'm going to fade into the background and just start reviewing this huge backlog of things I need to review. I'll turn off the staging server and I'll leave Matt. Maybe you can take the lead in finding, you know, things that are like, you know, fit Daniel's description there.
And Sam was correct. I gotta go.
Yeah.
So I would just put like 2 issues into Slack to vote on, and I'll vote on it and leave.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Cool. Thanks, Carl.
So good luck.
Thanks, Carl. Bye for now.
Ciao.
Yeah. I mean, Daniel, like, I'm in the ready column. I'm not finding anything that fits what you're describing.
This one, 810.
810 is not something that, I mean, that's something that he probably could work on in some minutes, not something longer to work on. It's something that Tanita said that she would do. I contacted her since the start of the sprint, and she said that she would do it, and we don't need to reassign it. But then I haven't heard back from her, so I don't know if she's doing it. And yeah, that could be something that he could do, but that's probably just copying and like cutting and pasting a bit of code into a different location. So that could be done in like.
You never know. I mean, you know, I think, yeah, I wouldn't rule things out on that basis. I mean, you can rule them out on like somebody else having been assigned to them, but like thinking something simple, they often turn out to be more tricky. I mean, I think like Daniel's looking to work on something right now, and that, you know, the process of working on it may well throw up other things that can then be worked on subsequently. I'd say the important thing is to start on something, but yeah, choose something from the estimated column or from the backlog. I mean, we've got all of these votes revealed. Is it? Yeah.
I mean, we most of the votes that have been revealed, I've moved over into the ready. The ones that were voted on yesterday and today, I haven't.
Oh, okay.
But so there are a couple other things that we haven't moved over, and I can do that. Yeah, I mean, I guess Daniel, if you do want to, I'm not sure what the right thing to do. Like Tanita, I've talked to her several times about working on this, and so far she hasn't. So I'm
okay,
not sure.
so that's this button about the event is live, or ask about the event is live.
Yeah, but so I guess we're in a state that's, I'm not sure if that ticket really reflects where we actually are on it. Because that's like a ticket that was worked on previously, and we did get something merged in for that. So if I come here, for example, on an event that is live at the moment, so maybe actually it might be a past event because we went over the hour that I said it was going to be. And we have this website one, Sprint Day Planning. No. It's not.
Yeah, but I was asking about this. It's time, please start the event.
Oh, sorry. That I think is just waiting to get merged in. That was already worked on by Michael, and
okay.
we think that was already that's already fixed. Although we need to check it, I guess, on staging. I'm not sure if we have. Okay, so the staging server has been turned off. So I think that's just waiting to get merged in. I wonder if I have a screenshot of that. Let me have a look.
I was just reflecting, actually, this one you just added, Matt, about improving the seed file is something that I think is you're motivated about, and that also Daniel could, like, you know, it could various things could be added to make this, to improve the seed file, isn't it? So that could kind of, I mean, I've just, there were like a load of new votes of things that have kind of been revealed, and I've moved all of them over into the ready column along with the improve our seed file. So there's a lot of things there you could be doing. Yeah. Anyway, I'll go and review pull requests.
Yeah. Yeah, this project drop down does not reset. I know this one. I think this one 1336 is one that Mike was hoping to work on, but I'm just gonna see if I have a screenshot of this. Screenshots of plus of things. Here we go. So Dan, you're still with me?
Yeah.
So this join this live event now is you can see it's kind of in an awkward place on the page.
Okay.
So if I go back down to this ticket 810, like this started off like with like this type of thing. This event is now live, join now, and then that has been like this ticket's from 2 years ago. So there was this type of button where it's like start a hangout on air, which now we don't have. So then 2 months ago I asked if he was talking about like something like this, and he responded, and then now that has turned into this, right? But like the idea is that that these buttons here, start hangout instructions and start Jitsi Meet, are only visible when the event has not started.
Okay.
So once the event has started, then the idea is that maybe this join this live event now would replace like the positioning of these, or would be somewhere in this general location.
All right. Yeah. So I will look into this because I have to dig it a bit through the code. So yeah, I can start working on it.
Yeah. I mean, I could probably point you in the right direction if you wanted to.
Yeah, if you.
So this is website 1, and we have, so this is events, and this is the show page for events. We have the show.html.erb, and it already opened up directly to, this is the join this live event now button. And where is the, what is it again that it says? Start, no? So yeah, it's on this page, and then I guess would be the start. It's time to start the event. No. Getting started. No. Here. So this is like, here's the buttons for the start Jitsi Meet. And
okay, so it's in the same file.
Yeah, it's in the same file. So I mean, you know, if we wanted it to actually, like, I guess, like, even if these aren't visible, you might not be able to just move it up like I was suggesting. Like, you might actually have to use some JavaScript to, like, you know, to replace it. And yeah, not sure exactly what you would. But
okay, yeah, you know, I have to go through the file, and then maybe some idea will pop up in my head.
Yep.
And
yeah, so you have the event actions here, which is the one that's on the furthest right. It's you know,
yeah, I've got it open.
Yeah, but as long as they're logged in, then they see that. But that, and then underneath it, like, yeah, then underneath it you have, like, if the recent hangout .try is live, and the event is less than 10 minutes till start, yeah, then show this this start Jitsi Meet and the start hangouts. So yeah, I mean, it might just be a matter of some logic that says else, like, then the event's not live, you know, else if the event is live, then have this button here, the join this live event now.
Okay, so if I want to test this, yeah, more, you know, wide question, I will have to probably create some events in my test, you know, the local database where I, you know,
yeah. So you have you run the seed file yet in your
it's, I have to run it by hand, or it's, you know, run when I set up Docker?
No, like, you would need to actually tell it to run. Like, so you're working in Docker,
right? Yeah.
So it would just be that same, like, you know, that same Docker compose run web, and then, like, for the command, you would run that Rails DB :seed.
Okay.
Assuming that you've already like created the database, and well, the database.
Yeah. But I'm on a different computer, so I have to I have to run it here as well.
Yep.
Like,
I don't know if you want to share your screen or not. You don't have to.
I have to find the button. So bundle exec create DB setup. All right, so yeah, the database is set up. Now
yeah, so it's running the seed file at the moment.
Yeah, I will switch to the browser. So staging, no, that's my local one.
Yeah, I think that.
Can you see this?
Yeah.
Page, yeah?
Yep.
Now again. So yeah, no events in the calendar. Upcoming events.
Yeah, this is a bit strange. Like I think that's what I've experienced as well. Like the seeds file is creating events, but for some reason they're not being displayed on the events page because.
And how this calendar works is we got it inside the project, or is it from Google, or no?
I don't. I think it's full calendar, or is that in?
Yeah, I think that's right. It's a JavaScript plugin. I mean, it can talk to Google Calendar, but it's
All right.
it's a JavaScript library. And I think sometimes if you can't see the events, it's maybe that the events are being created and they're in the past, because the events thing is only going to show you future events.
Okay.
So that might be something to change in the seeds file, is like so that it creates them so that they're 10 days in the future from whenever you run the seeds file, for example.
So maybe today I will try to look in the seeds file, and because without this it's hard to work on it, and this has to be changed anyway. So
yeah, so it seems like that improve our seed file, that would be a good thing to work on, and it will kind of like have a multiplying effect, like it would make things easier for everybody working on everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. I've definitely spent a lot of time trying to. Yeah.
So because without this, it will be hard to work, on the other part.
So is it okay if I assign you to this this ticket 2718?
That's about the seed file. Yeah.
Yep. Cool. And I can help with that as well if you want help, or if you get bored of it.
I will go through it. It's not that big. I saw the seeds file, so
no. I think there's a lot of different moving parts if you want to like be creating, different subscriptions and different plans and things like that. But like, and see how you go.
Yeah, I think it's good introduction to the database, because now I'm gonna know what about the models and so on. So it's good projects for beginner.
Yeah, so definitely.
All right. Yeah, so I'm gonna work on this, and if I got some questions, I will reach to you.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, man.
All right.
Appreciate it. And how are you, Michael? You're looking for something to work on. Can I help you? Can I help you find something?
I'm just chilling out right now.
Yeah. Cool. Did you want to have a look together at that stuff that we started working on, that I was kind of finishing up, and see and give me your opinion on the stuff, like kind of like a live PR review, or would you prefer to do something less strenuous?
You're asking Michael or all of us?
No, sorry, I was asking Michael.
Yeah, we can look at it, I guess. It's just...
I mean, I think we don't have to. I think that it's there for Sam to give a review on, and that's.
Yeah, I'll be getting to it myself in a minute. I've in the background here, I've merged some pull requests from Daniel and from Carl, in particular the VCR sensitive data one, and I've done merge conflicts against the refactor GitHub languages job. I'm at the point of like clearing out the please check column. I guess maybe one thing you could do that would be helpful for me, Matt, is go to the waffle board and move over anything that's kind of like ready to be reviewed. I guess if there's a pull request that's not marked WIP in the pull request list, that has the same sort of thing, but yeah, it's almost we almost slide away from using the waffle board because sometimes it's so slow. But or maybe you can move it. But I don't want to deprive you of the satisfaction of moving them over yourself, because it's a nice feeling. Like, well, yes, we've done with this one. So yeah, so you could grab those and drag them over. Sorry, go on.
No, I'm sorry. I was just going to ask for a clarification on that, because there's some that I think are kind of done and need to be checked, and there's some that like you need to be checked because like there's further work to be done, but maybe we're not going to go in that direction. And
sure, so I mean, I think yeah. So please check. I mean, it needs to be. It's a way of flag. Certainly, in the past, we were using that as the way of flagging. Please look at that. It's kind of It would be nice if the movement to please check was somehow, I don't know, like taking the WPI out of the title or something. I don't know. There's sort of room for smoothing here.
Yeah, I mean, like this is one that I wanted to talk about, but it's still in progress, I guess. This one as well.
So this one that the not pinging public channels, that's one that you worked on yesterday, and then now, as in principle, that's ready to go. So I can remove the WIP from the title of the pull request.
Yeah, thank you. Although I think it's failing. Yeah, it's failing that code
coverage.
Yeah,
the diff coverage thing that doesn't seem to make any sense to us. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I'm just going to close this modify permissions implementation that we've gone in a different direction.
Sure.
Like I guess we're happy with checking. Well, maybe not happy, but the idea of checking like the amount is greater than 2,500 is.
Yeah, I think for the time being, yeah.
Okay, so I'll close that. Goodbye.
We'll remember you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean this one at some point, and before Saturday, I wanted to talk to you about that because I'm gonna work on it with Peter.
Yeah, I mean, I was confused. Daniel is now wants to kind of go off and look on that by himself, or was Daniel hoping to have some pairing? Because Matt and Daniel, you could be pairing now and driving on a thing, or
I got time more later in the evening.
Okay, all right, cool. Yeah. So you're hanging out. That's cool. Yeah, so I guess we could use the remainder of our time for more like hanging out and clearing up this big backlog of PRs.
There's a lot of these in progress, like these creates the AV ecosystem review visual basic macros.html all these .html markdowns create it. Do you know where these are all coming from? Like
I'm not seeing those because I don't like
issues only
review like the issues only. That's but those are. I'm not seeing them in the pull request list. I don't know why you're. Maybe they were ones that have been merged but were never associated with tickets or something like that.
Okay. So this one here is ready to be checked as well.
Okay, I have to leave for now. So.
But good to see you, Daniel, and thanks so much for your contributions. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. See you later.
All right. So I'm just waiting for this refactor GitHub languages job to recompile, I guess. And then there's update rubicop.yaml. Okay, and that's now. Yep. Okay, so that all looks, and that's just like changing the. Fair enough, and it's all green, so you get that one in. Rubicop.yaml. Run related tests when committing.
So that's the one I wanted to talk to you about. This that gem overcommit, and I didn't want to put in more work before talking to you about it because it's like so now having added that in a branch, like it's installed the Git hooks like locally for me. So now every time I commit, it runs those Git hooks, which one of them particularly would affect you because it's like currently the way it's set up is it doesn't allow you to commit if you don't capitalize your commit message.
Oh, right.
Well, I actually haven't tried that to see if it fails or it just warns you.
Right.
On you. Because like if your commit message is too long, it like mine was too long by a couple characters, and I was just like, whatever, I don't care. And then it just warned me, and it still let me commit. But like adding it as a gem has like I guess pros and cons. Like it means that we can kind of like, we can do things like have the linter that you were talking about.
Right.
We could do things like run RuboCop, but the problem is that right now, because like the code base is like kind of has lots of different contributors and lots of different issues with RuboCop and Ruby linter. Like we wouldn't be able to. We'd have to like clear those up before we could actually like.
Yeah, I mean, there's a different thing. Like, there's a thing you can do, run RuboCop just on the, like, not on the entire code base, but on the the stuff that you're committing.
Yeah, well, so we'd have to customize that. Like,
yeah, and there's a. I mean, like, so I guess that, I mean, with this thing, it sounds like it could be really useful. It also sounds like it's the kind of thing that could, like, be challenging for different people's workflows. I mean, I guess for this one, yeah, I mean, the thing I would love to do is to, instead of like, yes, let's have overcommit, I guess it's the, I mean, if it's like specifically about run related tests when committing, so that basically the idea, the high level idea that we're talking about here is that if you commit a change to some part of the code base, let's say in a model, that then the tests related to that model would be run. That's the high level idea, right?
Yeah.
Right. And so, I mean, at the moment, I've just got the pull request up on a bigger screen over here, and I can see that it adds the gem, and then it's got like an overcommit.yaml thing, most of which is commented out, except for pre-push rspec enabled true.
Yes.
Right.
So what that does is that, unfortunately, that runs all the rspec tests. So like when you're pushing, it's going to run all your rspec.
Okay.
So that would, it seems like we would need to write our own custom, like which I have there on the ticket, like an example of how we could do, but it's like we would need to adapt it to using rspec instead of using like the Rails tests. So I'm not sure. Like the benefit, I guess the benefit of like having it the overcommit gem, like you can add your own custom like scripts, but the benefit of having it is that it would be project wide instead of just being like I add it to my local Git hooks and then I can like talk to my friends about adding it, but
right. But it sounds like it's kind of like it's a sort of, it very much is a work in progress in that here's a start, and with some further changes it could be made so that it runs related tests when committing, and at that time when it's got to that point, people can check out the branch and try and see if they like the workflow. Yeah.
That sounds like a fair assessment. I just wanted to see if it's something that's worth continuing working on, because like I guess like, yeah, I mean, I get running the related tests would be a helpful thing, I guess. So
yeah, I mean, it's an interesting, I mean, one of the things that I just did now is, so we had that, I was just going to test it out locally. We had that pull request from somebody for making the circles clickable.
Yeah.
And it didn't work at all, and it was fairly clear that the person who submitted it had not run the tests locally, or even necessarily even run the server locally. And so at some level we might think, well, it would be nice to get that. Now it's interesting, actually. Yeah, I think it works. Look, that now code, everywhere. Yeah, it's now working. But so we actually sort of made it work.
Yeah.
Now after a few rounds, that's really nice.
I restarted that. I counted 6 times I restarted that build to get
it was like failing with random failures.
Well, it's failing with that same one, that sign-in feature one.
Oh, really? Yeah, so maybe that, if that's the case, then that we should add that sign-in feature one to like the ones that get skipped on CI.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at actually fixing that test, and I need to update I just put in here a ticket like intermittent failing test, and then didn't give anyone any information about what I was talking about.
Okay.
I got distracted.
Yeah, but even like in the meantime, before we fix it, like you do know the tag that we have that allows us to skip certain tests on CI.
No, but I think I could figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, I hope we have it. I thought we had it. I mean, maybe I'm thinking of a different project, but anyway. I
know we have one like to retry or something, like if it fails.
It runs. Yeah, it has like a second try. Did we create? It'll be in the. Have we got it in the hooks? There's hook up. No. Support has hooks. hooks. Do we have the? Maybe we have it on here. Disable Twitter. No, but like that might be worth adding it. I guess then like it would even struggle to find the like somewhere there'll be the task. Is it cucumber.rake that actually runs the things? And one of these, let's have a look. Oh, there you go. It's this tag, intermittent CI.js fail. So what this does is on both the first and the second try, it will exclude any things that are like too painful to run. So if we then search for find in folder and look for that, yeah, we can see that there are like here certain things that have like just been, you know, I mean, these are like now to do with the Mercury editor, which we're now not even using anymore. So, but yeah, so let me slap that into. So you created a new issue related to that. Independent failing test. There we go. Let's slap CI ignore tag on it as well. Yeah, I mean, like having to restart it 6 times, that's just it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a waste of time.
Yeah, it's not. It's harming us rather than helping us. Okay, so yeah, but so coming back to the thing we were talking about, which was like about wanting to run the tests automatically. So we can say like for this person who submitted it was like LexCore 16. I don't even know who that is. Where there's the argument that you know, ideally they should have been, you know, incentivized or like made it so that locally the tests ran so they could see that what they had added was breaking, right? That sounds like a reasonable thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
You could make the counter argument that, you know, this person who was sort of like, you know, if they'd had that in place and seen them breaking, they might just have given up and then we wouldn't have got this feature. Do you know what I mean? I mean, in some ways, I mean, it's this funny thing. Like if we had like a team of 10 developers and they were all being paid to work full time, then, you know, that would I think it would definitely be an advantage. I guess just thinking about it in the context of this thing, which is partly what in my mind sparked our talking about automatic running of the tests, it makes me think that you know, I don't know, maybe it's not such a big deal either way, but then again,
don't you have CI there anyway?
Well, we do have CI, which is why we knew that it failed. But the idea is that, like, you know, making it so that the tests for the associated thing run automatically locally when you commit the change. So that means that you can't kind of make the pull request without actually having done some local testing. I mean, you could still ignore the results of those tests, I guess. Or actually, Matt, is the way that it would work, it would prevent you completing the commit if the test didn't pass?
No, like, so that's the thing, like, because there are times that you just want to, like, it's the end of a long day and you just want to push it up, or you're collaborating with someone else and you just want to send stuff. So you can actually skip it. You would just need to actually pass in like the thing. I mean, we could require it and say like, no, you can't skip it. But like, you know, that would be an argument against doing that you're making right now. So that, you know, if people who know how to get, like, who know that you can just skip it would be able to just say skip it and push it up anyways.
Right.
So, but I don't know. I mean, yeah, like it's something that it was partially because of that. And it's partially because there's like certain things like, you know, the idea is like not to make it more difficult for people to contribute. The idea would be to make it easier for people to contribute. And one of the ways I want to use this, like that I was thinking about using this overcommit gem is to be able to, like, when I pull down from upstream develop, that it would automatically run bundle, which is like, you know, think of an argument why people would be like, oh, well, that could be potentially harmful for someone.
Well, I think it's, I mean, to a certain extent, it feels like it
seems premature if you've had one person who's submitted something that didn't seem to be aware of tests. I mean, it just seems premature to shove something in there that would run on everybody's computer. Like,
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know if I would like it like forcing me to or trying to like run when I commit. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, this is
Sometimes I'll commit unclean.
Yeah. I think I agree with you. I mean, it's not just this. You know, it's happened before that we have people who don't run the tests. But yeah, it feels like what it would be nice is if it definitely feels like at this stage, it's something that you know you should be playing with locally, Matt, to improve your process. And then when you get one working that you're starting to feel, oh yeah, this really does improve my process, then that's something that would be at that point you would share and say this is available, and then other people would be able to choose to have it or not, right? Like, so yeah, would be the way to go. I mean, is it such that like you can't? I mean, I guess you can have your own overcommit.yaml or what have you locally and be trying out the processes, right? Without that needing to be committed to the developer branch.
Yeah, and also, you know, I can use overcommit on, like, I can go back to that branch and I can add different ones, and then that will add those Git hooks for me locally, and then every branch that I work on will have that stuff. And like that's, you know, exactly why I stopped working on this, is because of those concerns, you know.
Yeah. And so you could put overcommit.yaml in git ignore, and then you could just have it on everything. You wouldn't need to go back to that branch and keep rebasing them.
Sure. Yeah, I could do that as well. Yeah, I mean, that git ignore would be version controlled, but yeah, like once
the git ignore would just be saying to, oh well, I mean, you don't even need to add it to git ignore. Yeah. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, I mean, once you run it one time, like I could put it there and then run it and then remove it, and then it would be there.
Yeah. So then going on to, I've got this automate audio extraction of AV retrospectives, and that's just extraordinary. I mean, that's a wonderful first step to get the rake task in there. I noticed that it's failing on CI.
Yeah.
Is that? Did you look at that failure already?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I looked at it. It's like not implemented that step, I think, is why it's failing.
Well, I'm getting something that's different from that, or at least the one that I'm seeing is kind of like, I don't know. It's got like it's like standard error, unable to extract uploaded nickname. I mean, I'm just taking the details of the error. It's into the. I'll put it in the pull request.
So I guess like the question I have on that one is like, where do you want to, like, how do you want that to work? Like, you want it to be, because I added like an audio directory in the assets, and then my idea was like that it would get the output would get sent to that directory, but then that would be, is that like?
I think that would be difficult to have that work effectively on Heroku. Unfortunately, like if we're talking about we probably have to generate it and then store it like somewhere else. I think for it to work with Heroku. But the like in the first instance, just having the rake task that then anybody could run on their local machine, you know, having it in version control, that's just totally awesome.
Yeah, but so I guess like I'm a bit new to rake test. So like I added it there as like a Heroku, like the Heroku scheduled, which runs every night, does it not?
Well, that's an interesting, like the scheduler.rake thing doesn't get called directly by anybody. So that's like just adding it to that file. Yeah, we don't call scheduler rake. I mean, maybe that's the intention, that this thing should be called, but oh gosh, what is it? You know, the organization of the rake tasks directory is something that could easily be cleaned up. I think having these things in scheduler.rake is a bit silly. Like that does the naming there. So like I think things at the moment they're called directly. I mean, this is the kind of task that conceivably might be quite long running. I mean, I would put aside like I don't know. I guess at this stage here, I mean, I guess you're interested in talking about, okay, how do we go about that next step of connecting the rake task to, you know, whatever else. I guess I'm just thinking in the first instance, reviewing the PR. Okay, how can we make the test pass so that we can merge it and we've got it and everybody's got access to it, but it's not going to break the build.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah. I
mean, I can have a closer look at that.
Yes. Can you see the error that I just pulled?
I mean, you know, if that's the case, like, yeah, I was wondering if
I mean, maybe it can't run. Oh, sorry, go on.
only some. Yeah, it's supposed to be extracting MP3. Oh, I did see this. Yeah, yeah, I couldn't make sense of really what that's saying. Like install FFmpeg or AVconf to fix it automatically.
FF probe or AV probe not found. I guess it's relying upon the gem is relying upon the presence of some things being available on the Ubuntu box that it's running on.
Yeah.
So presumably there are some.
Add it to the Travis then, maybe, or to the Semaphore to install that. Like.
Yeah.
Or we could just not have a test for it, but I don't know if that's a good.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of thing that just it would be worth having it there, and it's interesting. And I'm interested when this is running, right? Okay, and it's using YouTube, so it's downloading the thing from YouTube. Like it's reaching.
It doesn't have to be YouTube, but yeah.
Right. But it's yeah. It's
in this case it is, yeah.
Yeah.
It goes there. So like I went with Nokojiri and went there and grabbed.
Yeah,
like,
I mean this is an interesting one in as much as, you know, this you could almost argue could be its own little microservice, right? In that we've got like a offline operation that needs to pull down, like it needs to pull down the video.
Yeah,
it does the thing, and then it needs to get the you know, we've got this content, the MP3s, and needs to make that available. And so that almost, we don't want that running on our Heroku instance.
Yeah.
It's obviously no problem in having it as a rake task, as a place to store it in the first instance. But I think the bigger picture would be interesting to think about where would that, you know, sensibly be running.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't need to be part of the project because it's using Nokojiri to go to the site that we provide it and pulling the link from that site. So it could be running from my computer or your computer.
Yeah,
or
the page URL. I mean, I'm just looking at, actually maybe move the screen so you can see my screen. Oh, how come here? I should have just done it with the. Oh, what are you doing?
And also, like right now, it's not automated because if it's not, you'd need to schedule it to run every Saturday, for example. And also,
yeah, go on, Michael.
What is the purpose of it? Like, why?
To turn our YouTube videos into podcasts.
Okay, seems weird.
Yeah, well, that's what we've been doing with the retrospectives, and I find that very useful. It's been a feature request we've had from several users that they would have the videos in podcast form,
without the images.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Huh.
But so in this here, so going to the page there. Yeah. So it's grabbing off the page the YouTube link from there, and then right. So it's sort of scraping the HTML to get the thing.
Yeah. Because we know that the latest video is always going to be the one on top, and the idea is like to automate it to where it runs every Saturday after it's been uploaded there.
Right, you're thinking specifically about the retrospective. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like I have thought about, like, it would be nice to be able to do it with other videos, but this would be just about the retrospective because every week we need to actually manually do that. But then also as well, like, it's not completely automated because then I need to take it and then I need to upload it to my Dropbox and then, you know, and then share it to the Slacks.
Right. But indeed, so the other parts of it, like, you know, Dropbox API, and then there's a question about, you know, is hosted on Dropbox and so on. But yeah, as an alternative to this scraping the screen, we do have that events.json. Like if you go to agileventures.org/events.json, we get the JSON feed, and conceivably you can pass parameters that so that you would get this, although I don't know how that's maybe not set up, but that would avoid yeah. So I think there's a lot of
I mean, you could have an API endpoint that just, you know, exposes that
thing. Yeah, I think we've got the makings of the
URL
of that. I mean, it would almost be, this would be an interesting thing here, Matt, if you were thinking that you'd like to make, for example, a Phoenix, you know, an Elixir Phoenix microservice that
Mhm.
this would be this I think would kind of make sense to me, that it would do that. I mean, and in fact, you know, it could be, I mean, rather than hosting it on Dropbox, like it could be that we had like a little microservice that ran in Doku in, say, the AV Playground, right?
Mhm.
And it would talk to the main AV site. It would, using our API, it would grab the event thing that it, you know, that it wanted to do, and then it would basically run like a little server, and it would serve the files for us. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So that would be a good, whether, and it could be in Node, it could be in Go, it could be in I mean, it could be another Rails one, it could be in Sinatra. Is there a, like, are you excited about making a little web microservice in a particular language or framework?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited about lots of things.
I know you're a bundle of excitement, but yeah, was there something you're thinking, oh, I'd love to have an opportunity to do something in X or Y or what have you?
Yeah, I think so. I do I have to tell you right now which that will be in?
No, absolutely not. And we can move on. Totally.
Because the Go would be nice, but also Elixir would be nice. And yeah.
Yeah.
Because I haven't studied anything in Go, but from what there's Go seems pretty cool. Like it seems really performant.
Yeah. Or was it Brian and John did a Go server back in the day?
It'd be nice to think about like the events in the context of a Go microservice, because
yeah. I mean, personally, I'm more excited about Elixir than I'm about Go, but it's, you know, whatever gets people's game on.
Well, I suppose it depends on like the Elixir mob going forward. If how quickly Federico's back, and if we're going to continue.
Yeah. There would certainly be. It would certainly make a nice like, what's the word? Circumscribed, like you know, it's small enough that you, and like there's not so many moving parts that, unlike Paranauts, you know, it could like actually be done within, you know, a not insane amount of time. Famous last words, but anyway. Cool. I mean, you know, awesome. There's obviously inversion control. We've got that. But then, so yeah, I wonder, has the right? So the refactor GitHub languages job from Eliza.
No.
Sorry, go on.
I was just wondering if that was like, because it might be really clear to you exactly what would need to be done to make that a reality, but it's not as clear to me as it would be to you.
Sure.
There's some way that like you could write up like something quickly that you could share that I could consume later in like an issue, or
yeah, the I was just in the pods
now, but
no, but I guess by saying it, you start my brain working on it, and then it's difficult for me to let go of it. I thought, but where's the pull request gone? Oh, here we go. Audio extraction of retrospectives. Yeah, I mean, I started just adding here this little thing, microservice running on Docker. I mean, the what I would imagine is that, so the microservice would hit AVWSO endpoint like so. So it would be like HTTPS Agile ventures.org/events .json, and then, you know, like name retrospective or whatever. I mean, it's sort of trivial to add like simple little things if they're not there already. But let's say, and you could get it ordered, you know, reverse whatever, which would give us gives us their YouTube URL.
Yeah, the ID, which is what we need for the YouTube DL.
Okay, yeah, and then so one, and then two. So the would, the microservice would, and then, you know, do the ripping or whatever it's called, and then three, store the file in a location that was visible on some endpoint. So and that's sort of like, e.g., we would have https podcasts.agileventures.org/ we've got like AV retrospectives.
Yeah.
And then, you know, 1 or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or, you know, date. Maybe, who knows? But so that would just, you know, it like in Heroku, we can't like reliably put stuff on the file system and have it served. But with Doku, I mean, it's an interesting one there actually. I mean, assuming that we could set up the Doku with a shared, you know, with shared drive thing, like we're doing for the MediaWiki, right? Then it can write to that. They can be there. That can be served from whatever web server we're running, and no worries. I mean, you know, apart from increasing costs on Azure, but presumably we can, you know, cope with that. This would, you know, go into the AV playground. Is that enough?
Yeah, to get started. Yeah, for sure. I'm sure I'll have questions.
I mean, there's and of course, you know, maybe I'm completely overlooking some you know, important thing that just will not work at all. But yeah, right. But so on that note, then, yeah. So now I've kind of like done with the merge conflicts. So we've now got this refactor the GitHub languages job that it's all been dealt with. So it's now just the refactoring, and we could just merge it. Shall I just go ahead and merge it?
Yes.
Yeah. And we'll say, thanks, Elizabeth. All taken care of.
So the refactor Cucumber sponsors, banners, fixes, blah, 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 failed on that same sign-up link failure.
You mean the develop build?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, if you can put in a pull request that adds that hook thing to exclude it from that, I'll just merge it in and we'll get that sorted. That would be wonderful, because I don't want you to spend any more time restarting that build.
Create a pull request directly from the semaphore?
No, not from there. I would just, I mean, if you pull out, if that, well, it depends if that's the develop build or where it is. But I mean, I would just get on the command line, get develop out the latest one, because there'll be some changes. Git checkout -b, whatever is the URL of that intermittent failing thing. Make the change locally that includes that skipping thing, and then put that up as a pull request, and then we'll merge that in, and hopefully that will. I mean, you don't have to say fixes. We don't have to close the ticket if you want to keep working on maybe like improving the test, which is fantastic too. But let's at least exclude it from the CI.
Yeah, I tried. I mean, I tried using that other has no link, and that's still intermittently failing.
Yeah, I mean,
so who knows?
Yeah. So we've got there so on the waffle board, we're getting to. Are we getting sort of clearness? We've got
lots of changes.
So the can we remove Bower is in the please check. I mean, it's like, yeah, let's put in a pull request that does it and see if it passes. So I'm going to move that back into in progress.
I think he already did put in a pull request that does it.
It's not associated with the ticket.
Yeah, but it is in the, if you go to the GitHub, it is in the pull.
Okay, all right, let's see. I'm not seeing any other pull requests from Carl. I think he's created 2 associated issues. I have not seen a pull request from him at this time.
Pull requests. And maybe I'm wrong. It's definitely possible.
So we've also got this project index pages redesign is in there. GDPR options for Git. We've got all these things. So there's remove Mercury. There's the email interceptor. Oh, there's a block there on that one. Okay.
Yeah, I think I should.
Okay. So there's the other. Is this now got conflicts? It hasn't. I need to update my thing, re-record this one, don't I? So that it doesn't. So it doesn't have the client secrets and things in it. What? Let me find that branch. Okay. But yeah, so that in the please check column, we've got the premium mob events should not ping public channels. Yeah, so we've got, this is what we worked on yesterday. So we've now got like this little connector thing so the event instance can have 4 that are dependent on the parents. We've got some, I guess it's interesting that we've got things here like that are flagged here, but it's not flagging us in other places. I don't know, maybe that's like due to the diff or I don't know anyway. But the, like here, I guess the changes here are just that now we're starting to use some, like the method is not any longer, but we've just changed the names of some of the things.
Yeah.
And we're using YT message instance variable. What is there any particular reason why it wants to be an instance variable?
Well, because I was using it in a different method that was like there's a method that's like post what is it, post to Slack, something like that, post to
right, but it's also being passed in as a argument to send Slack message.
Yeah.
So does it need to be, it seems like you would do one or the other. Like you'd either have it as an instance variable or you'd pass it along, but not both. But maybe
so can I pass, like it's, yeah, okay. And maybe like I'm using it there in the post premium mob
notification.
So you see there, like on line 153, we have the @here message.
Okay.
So that's how I just
okay. That's how it was. It was you're copying how it was done from elsewhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like it's in. I've added the. Where is it?
Okay, but so we've also got this now.
No, that's not supposed to be there. I thought you.
I mean, maybe my fault.
Yeah, it's probably more likely that it has something to do with the fact that we were sharing VS Code and you didn't save on your side, but it got saved on my side.
Right, right. Yeah, that's all right. Does that weird? When I'm on this,
yeah, I mean that it's
right.
That is.
But so we've got the 2 scenarios. One for checking that it prints the appropriate private channels for the Hangout URL, and one for the YouTube URL. So that's cool. And then we've got our steps. Yep. And so this is setting up the spies, and then we're checking that they're done those things, and then right. And so the Slack service spec is updated, and so yeah, these things will now have 4s and 4s and 4s, and then we have a new context for premium mob members events, right, that checks that they behave in the way that we would expect. Yes, and change to that one, and then right, premium mob events. Yeah, right, solid.
Yeah. You'll want to create maybe a premium mob channel on the staging, Sam. It occurs to me that we have certain, so you have trial, stand-up notifications, and extra. And I think those are the real channel IDs, maybe.
Yeah, but so what we've got in this,
and then there's like ones for, go on.
Like at the moment in that service overall, where are the services gone? Where are the services? Here are the services. There's the Slack service. So it kind of, yeah, I mean, it's got this. It checks for the being in production mode. So when it goes on to this is like for running this one here, it's for running locally. And so potentially if like I do have another Slack instance where in the past I've checked and I like create these channels and it points to these things and then I run it in development mode locally and then this gets used. But what I would be tempted to do is just get this out, maybe, rather than partly because I also know that I don't know, like the token has expired for that other thing. So maybe it's lazy of me, but I would be tempted in the first instance to
So there's no issue in like those for adding it to get it to work in test environment. We need to add like those channels to that part right there.
No, these are not run as part of the test environment. So the test environment runs. Oh well, I mean your tests are passing. Sorry, go on, Michael.
I don't think you have the trial list in the live environment, do you?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
It's in that list?
No, it is now that we added it. But it's not.
I mean, this is I'm not on the branch there.
You're okay.
Yeah. I was just like looking at for that there. Right. But it makes me intrigued.
It wasn't passing the test because it was not like that. Those ones are only used in environment production, you know. So we needed to add them to that so that it would work in production. But we also needed to add it to that other one that you're talking about using in development sometimes. But the point is that like I didn't pass in the actual IDs I just passed in fake IDs to test against.
Right. And I guess are we in the test setup? Are we mocking like?
Right, and I was saying for that you would create in the staging in our staging Slack, you would create channels and then put the prop, those IDs into that else, and then you could potentially test.
Yeah, in advance. Yeah,
test in advance before deploying. But yeah.
So the way we're setting this up is this relying on
that being an instance method?
Sorry, say again?
You're asking if that's relying on it being an instance method or instance variable?
No, I was more like here. I mean, we set this up so that we get like a set of arguments that are saying like, let's say the CS169 project channel post args, and then that there C29J4 CYA2. Is that okay? Yeah. So the tests are running in. They're assuming that we're operating with this setup.
Yeah.
Right. So when it checks that it's going to there, it assumes that it's looked up here in this channel to find the right thing. And for the test that you've added, like here, this is like for the YouTubes, it's setting those values there, and it's checking that. So like, and so for example here, like we create a project. This is post YouTube to appropriate private channels. We're creating a project called Website 1. And then we're the Hangout. What's the Hangout created? Hangout event instance. There we go. But so in this is like premium mob members events. In this context, shouldn't the event instance have a 4? That
we're adding it. We're adding it, aren't we?
Oh, okay. You're adding that there. So you could have like 4 and then just the string there. But okay,
Well, we tried doing that one with you, and that didn't work because we're actually creating the event instance, and so you have.
This event is sorry. So this is not the mock thing. These ones, for some reasons that we're not necessarily completely sure of, actually have to be the real deal. Okay, yeah. So then we're stubbing the 4 thing, and right, got you. Okay, and then then we set the Hangout project, and then we give the Hangout a project as well, and then expect client to have we post the YouTube link, and then we expect that these have been posted with these channel IDs, and that I guess what I haven't yet actually looked at is the code somewhere. There's the code that was like
The actual method.
yeah, that does the actual work.
So I don't know if it was good to reuse that method, but it's like post premium mob notification. So I was saying like if there's this is what I was asking about earlier. If there's a hangout.youtube video ID, then like send it to just the premium extra with a YouTube message. And if there's no YouTube video ID, then send it to the premium extra and premium mob trial list with the here message.
So
I don't know if that's going to work in production. Like I was trying to think about the way it actually works. And I think like when the person adds the YouTube or when the person adds the Hangout link and sends it, like it won't have the YouTube URL or the ID, or it could, but some people put them both together, but then that would independently send. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, it's difficult to follow what you're saying. Because I'm just looking. So here we've got it so that yes, and these will grab from the channels, but so when it runs in the
actually the opposite maybe. Oh no, that's right. Sorry.
But so we've got like so we've got them added here both to the like sets of production ones and the non-production ones, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that will these are the correct values for the live system, and these are whatever random things, and so it grabs that there, right? And so in this context, we've got it we've got this set up to be these are the IDs that correspond to the non-production data,
correct,
right? And then so this checks that it has sent them to the correct place. Yeah, okay. And so now that I've got that, I can maybe take on board what you were saying here is that, right, so we've got post premium mob notification is being called for both the YouTube one and for the Hangout one, and then is that right? Have I got that back to front? I guess like sensibly I need to pull this out locally so I can look at it in there.
Or I could give you access to my VS Code.
You could indeed, or vice versa.
Well, you don't have the code pulled down, so.
I do now.
Yeah, it's quicker than starting the. Did you? I was. What was the name of that tag that I should add?
I put it in the issue.
Oh, okay, cool.
Oh,
there we go. The intermittent. Oh, look at that. That's really helpful.
Send notifications, post Scrum notification. Client chat post message. Have I gone on to the right? Don't save. Yeah.
No, I think you're on the upstream part of the branch, maybe. Instead of the.
Oh, it does say behind. Okay. There's definitely something we could do to improve the overall organization of this thing. I mean, I think Nick's pulled out these other methods, but I'm not finding it. I don't know if it's like we were talking about in the Elixir mob. It needs to be restructured so we can like pull out. So like we can actually have something that's instantiated that like it makes it clear what the methods are. Yeah, and I guess right. And So I must have introduced these, and I'm mixing this kind of style of functional, but then creating instance methods.
Yeah, I thought that.
Yeah.
I thought that maybe it wasn't because is it being passed in that's so on line 18? It's not, the message is not being passed.
Yeah, and I think actually here, if we look at this, I think these. I wonder if these changes are things that Nick introduced.
Looks like it.
Yeah, but sorry, what were you saying?
I was saying, like, on line 18, is it actually passing the message into the
No, it's not. It's not there. It isn't.
So that's why I thought, like, because it was being used by a different method that we would need to have make it an instance variable instead of being a.
Well, I mean, it could just as easily be being passed through. I mean, they're like two different approaches, and I think we've now got a mix of two different approaches in here, which is potentially confusing. But so somewhere we've got that earlier. So the send notifications now, we've got this basically. I mean, this isn't. It's no longer a. We can remove that comment. But so this now, basically, any context in which the Hangout is premium or member, we do this, right? But so send notifications
doesn't get called by post YouTube link.
Right, and so post YouTube. Have we got something else going on in post YouTube link?
So that
here. Okay, so we're calling that again in this context.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, maybe it could be refactored to call that send notifications. I don't know.
I mean, I guess if there were, yeah, you were just like then expressing concern that conceivably that this might not be as reliable as we had hoped.
Yeah, I mean, it was working in the test environment, and I think, like, if I think about it in the context of someone adding a link to the field, like if a person adds a Hangout URL to, even if they add it to the wrong field, it won't include a YouTube video ID. So I don't know, but maybe I'm not thinking about an instance where an event instance would have a YouTube video ID, like an old YouTube video ID. I don't know. And then that would send to, in that case, you know, and this were called, then that would send it to, but I don't know. I mean,
right.
I'm overthinking things.
But so what we've got, I mean, like, if I think about it,
seems to me like you could end up sending the Hangout link twice.
Yeah, I mean,
with the way that this is structured.
If the Hangout included a YouTube or video ID, yes.
Well, when is that second one is triggered, right? When is that ever?
If we think about it from the point of view of the AV site, someone puts in the Hangout URL. So, and let's say they're doing it for a premium member, so it would come into here, right? Mm-hmm. And that would then bring us into here. So we'd be on this one. So then the Hangout YouTube video ID would not yet be set because we've only put the Hangout URL. So this line is not going to be called. And then, so the Hangout URL will be sent to both these channels. Yeah. Right. And then now if someone then follows up with adding submitting the YouTube URL through the av.org, that's going to come in through here, and it's going to hit this, and then it's going to hit here, and so we will have a YouTube video ID this time. So this will, and then we will.
You're going to do a redundancy.
Yeah, we're gonna send the
so I need to return, like that 152 it would need to be like a guard clause to return. If that's true, if there's a YouTube video ID, then call that method and return.
Well, you could put the guard clause in, but it starts to seem like, is there a need to have, like, is it sensible to have dried it out here? Is there a like if we, with those things, perhaps it would be easier to split it into two methods? Like we've got the there's the post premium mob, I don't know, YT notification and Hangout notification.
Yeah.
And like, so then this one doesn't, it can just be this. And then this one is just this, right?
Yeah.
Might be, I mean, I don't know, we might have it backwards. So
no, that makes sense. Why not?
I guess if I look at the test, so like in this one, what we're checking is it posts the YouTube URL to the appropriate private channels. Is there another one?
You change the acceptance test to check the right method, just like, because now they wouldn't, those methods that you're saying checking to see if they received don't exist anymore.
Right. And so the way we've got this, so here, so we're checking, I mean, the way to potentially expose, like we've got a hypothesis about there being an error. So we could, like, at the moment, yeah, the test here is just checking that it sends it once. And sorry, it just checks that it's sent at all, but not the number of times. But so these could be amended to sort of like check that we do experience. I think before I do any of that, yeah. And so that's like, so going back, yeah, the style that you took was to leave the acceptance tests kind of testing it up until like one of our internal methods, and then to use this spec here as an integration test rather than as a unit test.
I mean, I didn't really think of it in terms of like what it would be called. I just went to where we have the R spec, this Slack services spec, and then we added the Hangouts like with Michael and I, and then I went and added the YouTube ones myself.
Yeah, and maybe that's just is following what we've got.
Yeah, I mean, it's all consistent.
In the rest of them is that, I guess the other places, yeah, I mean, it's a pattern that we've got with these tests that, right, that's this feature as relates to the Slack service, we've got it set up so that we're stubbing kind of early in the acceptance tests, and then these things are doing the kind of more detailed checking. Like, well, I guess it's when I say integration test, it's still this is stubbing it at the level of chat post message, which is so it is still a unit test, but it's like we've got a unit test that's like testing, you know, the points after which the acceptance test does no longer test, right? Yeah,
it's checking the message, for example.
It checks that, you know, while the acceptance test only checks up to that like this checks that the correct the method that we think should be called on the Slack service is called, and then this subsequently checks that, and I guess this is from a slightly higher level. Does it go all the way through to the chat post message with the appropriate values? Which is an interesting setup. But yeah, you're going with the grain of the existing system.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's easier to kind of copy the decisions that have already been made than to try to make decisions myself.
Well, and I think it's definitely a good rule of thumb to kind of follow what the code base around you is doing.
I mean, I guess like in some cases, it's, you know, it's obviously better to be able to critically think, like, just because this is the way someone else did it doesn't mean that's the way I should do it. But
yeah. Well, I think in the first time you're encountering the code, it's probably good to go with the grain and the way it's done, because there might be an important reason why it's done that way, as we saw when I tried to convert these other ones to mock models down here, is that then got stuck. I mean, that then becomes potentially a refactoring ticket, which is like, okay, well, we could come back and work out why that's those. Although, yeah, I mean, this is sort of it's a really important part of our Agile Ventures system, it feels like, you know, we've spent enough time on it and so on, that could we come up with a better overall design? But that would be, you know, not to be done while adding this one feature. That would be something to think about separately, wouldn't it? I mean, I'd love to get this stuff out of here, and we're sort of half the way there in the a lot of the projects now have the Slack channel ID like stored in the database. Yeah, so that
both tests passed, but like you got that to pass by commenting out the tests, or
no, I went back to just check before I made any changes that everything ran green, you know, like as it does, just there wasn't any weirdness on my machine. And then I was just going to go in here and say post your Hangout URL to appropriate private channels there. So I think we can just do once on the end of these.
But this is having renamed the.
No, I backed out of that change. I put it back into its original state.
Okay. Cool.
So just to like with this whole thing of like only changing one thing at a time. Like we have this hypothesis that Michael came up with that perhaps is quite convincing, or perhaps not, that these things are getting called, might get called twice. But interesting. So this like Slack service,
I think it's because of the way that this test is written. That's calling post Hangout notification.
Right. It's coming in. Oh, okay. Right. So it's,
and you're saying that it's also calling post YouTube notification like later on, right?
And later on, and it's going to hit. Yeah. So in fact,
so you would need to write another test that.
Well, that's arguably where an acceptance test should come in. Like, yeah, so the test at this level, this is just checking. I mean, it would, like, it's also good to specify the number of times that we want it to be called, to sort of tighten the test up, because we don't want to multiply spam it. But yeah, so I guess we've got, at the moment, the way we have it set up here is the acceptance test. Yeah, we do these two things separately. So even the acceptance tests as they stand would not pick up that issue.
Could you not just add, like, in that back in the Slack service spec, could you not just add a call to the post YouTube link and expect it not to call?
Yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah, you could.
Shouldn't do anything if it doesn't have a.
It's like in the YouTube situation where we're saying that it does not, like here, we could also be saying that, I mean, it's kind of, but like here, we would expect the client not to, with the, so we then got expected post args, which, where's the expected post args being generated from?
It's a little bit further up. There.
Right. But so it's not, here we've got the thing that we expect it not to be receiving is we want it to not receive the thing with the expected post args from the other private context, isn't it?
Yeah,
right, we had a context where we were testing that it was received once, right?
Or here it's kind of got like, actually, so interestingly here, this is just checking that. Oh no, there you go. It's like this one, premium pop, like so.
I mean, it occurs to me that you could kind of simulate what's going on in production just by calling post YouTube notifications after that post Hangout notification, but it's kind of
say Slack service.
It's not really that it's not optimal to do it that way.
We've got post print that one. Right, that's up. Okay, but then is that maybe available? Is the thing that we're saying that we don't want to? We basically don't want. I don't know if we have to merge.
It's already being merged in the let. Like in the YouTube, no, it's being merged there. But
you mean these merges here?
But I think those. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I think what we would want to see here is, like, we wouldn't want it to receive. This would be the kind of like we don't want posting the YT link to resend this there.
Yeah.
I don't know if that variable is even available there. It might be out of scope, but that might expose the error. Like it's not actually required that both things are like are sent in order to have this fail. You know what I mean? It's like it's purely sending. No, it's just undefined. Oh gosh. And then,
because I thought I did test that it wasn't getting sent to the mob trial list.
You do, right?
But
and it won't. But we want to make sure that we don't send a message about the Hangouts to the that thing again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, twice. But we'd have to call both of those methods, which I wasn't doing in the test. I was just calling the one method.
But it's one of these things. Like it's almost like it's interesting because we've got. What it's I'm sort of confused about why. Like I guess we've got a context there. Why doesn't this context have access to like this context here? Like we've got the top level describe. There's like
yeah.
That's like
another describe YouTube notification. That's
okay. So there's like that, and then there's the whole thing. Right, so that whole thing of Jeepers Creepers, where does even, and that's coming in from message, and where does that message? Gosh,
message is there,
and we sort of like I guess we need, and then we even need like default post args as well.
Well, we have a YouTube message as well.
Right, but we're trying to assert that the Hangout message doesn't get sent.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we need all of those. All a bit of a mess there.
Yeah, but I think that wouldn't. I'm not sure that would work either because you're still just calling that YouTube. Yeah, okay.
But that's the whole point, is that the original thing.
Why? Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
That calling that one because.
Yeah, but then that all passed. So, that knocks the hyper. But yeah, the idea, it seems like the problem might be that if you call the post YT link, that it would both ping that stuff and also, like, so I've reverted it like back to here, that it would do this, and then it would then
come back and do that.
Then it would also do this.
Yeah.
With these other messages. Sorry, say again.
Why isn't it doing that though?
Well, it
wouldn't exit early.
I mean, conceivably here, I mean, what it would be nice to be able to do is to dump everything that everything that the client received.
You can do that by breaking it. Like if you take off that not to have received, then it'll show you everything that.
I mean, I
yeah.
Didn't we do one where I said any? I had it with like a hash, right? And a hash including.
Yeah. So you're gonna ignore the message.
I would do it hash including with just that channel ID.
Oh yeah, that's because that way it doesn't. Yeah.
That sounds sensible.
Yeah, because when you're doing a negative assertion, you don't care what the message is.
Yeah, if you don't want it to ping that channel at all, perhaps, yeah.
But I guess, yeah, we've got in this context, we do want it to ping that channel. But you actually care about the message. Yeah, yeah. But so here it's telling us all the different things that it's been sent. So it's received it with, so it does it like this is, I think it happened. I don't know what it says. Expected and then got. So it's basically it's telling us that Yeah, three messages.
It's getting a
being
hangout.
sent.
It's expected a hangout, but it's getting a YouTube. It's saying, and it's also
Right.
getting.
But we added it with but the expectation we added just so that it would print out all the things that it got.
Yeah.
So we're getting like 3 things here, but they look identical, don't they?
Well, it's actually, it looks like it maybe twice went to the one channel and once to the other channel.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So it's gone twice. Oh, where's the text? There's video live stream. Then the text is okay, and the text is nil in these 2 cases. So I would say that this is. I mean, part of I think the reason is that this is not working is like when it comes through here, like this at here message is nil.
Yeah, exactly, because that's being set in the other.
Yeah. This, in this flow that hasn't been set, so it's kind of like as it stands, it would have posted some like things with nil. So we kind of like. I mean, that hash including thing we could just do here and say that you shouldn't post it with sort of not to receive with hash including and then like text. And is the empty string there? Text nil, or let's just do nil like that. I mean, that's kind of like a weirdly over-specific text. Anyway, I mean, I need to take a short bar break, and then I've got like maybe half an hour before supper.
I mean, how do you want to? Do you want me to extract those into 2 methods then, or are you just gonna do that and push it up? I mean, you've kind of already done it, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because there is the idea as well about like refactoring it. So if we can just pass that message along, then there's no reason for it to be a instance variable. Like if we can pass it with a method.
Yeah. I mean, I would. I guess I wouldn't rush in to do like a load of refactorings per se. It feels like I'm sorry.
I wasn't suggesting a load. I was just suggesting something that could be done in 5 minutes and still.
Well, I would be worried about whether it could just be done in 5 minutes. What I was going to say is I feel like this kind of code set here is kind of a bit brittle, like through no fault at all of yourselves. I think it's just like, what I originally created and then having been refactored by Nick, I think it's in a bit of a brittle state to be so I'm kind of in this context, me personally, I would be extremely cautious about making any refactorings as part of adding functionality. Do you know what I mean? Like I'd kind of.
Oh, okay, but I think we kind of I don't know. Maybe we're talking about 2 different things. I think we've kind of established with that whole like testing thing that we wouldn't want to merge it in without extracting that into 2 different methods, which means we need to refactor the acceptance test. Otherwise, it's going to fail the build.
Well, I wouldn't call that refactor. We need to change the acceptance test. Yeah. No. Sure enough. But yeah, I'm sorry. Then I thought you were talking about changing. Maybe if that's all you're talking about, then yes. That's just like making the broken what will be the broken test work. That's so refactoring is when you have things green and you change things and they're still green. But so,
I mean, I guess I was suggesting to change that to pass that message to the
as an argument as opposed to an instance variable.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was the thing I was reacting and saying. Well, I mean, of course, far be it from me to, like if you want to grab that and get it done.
I mean, you pointed it out. It wasn't bothering me before, and then you pointed it out.
And now I mentioned it.
I mean,
yeah, well, it's also sort of bothering me. But I'm kind of thinking like there's a lot of things about the code that bothers me. Again, nothing to do with what you and Michael have done. You've just been working with the grain of the way that it is. Yeah, I mean, I also note here that in this context, I mean, I've tried to have this expose this thing where it's saying like expect the client not to receive chat message with hash including text nil, and that's all passed, which seems particularly odd given that it's showing us here that when I ran it a moment ago, it was receiving hash with text nil. Have I done something wrong there? Text nil? But maybe that's just like an artifact that it can't like establish negatively the presence of nils or something. I don't know. I'm confused. so it kind of looks like there's not like an easy way to write a test.
Well, I think the thing is that we would. I mean, I don't know if maybe I'm but the thing is that we would need to change these specs to actually call the specific method, and then we would be checking that they're only called once. So
well, we could be doing that. I'm not sure about that. I was thinking that I guess we've got the expected post args. What do the expected post args include? That whole thing. I mean, I think that probably what a test here that would do what we want would involve checking that the premium extra channel one is only receives one message.
Mm-hmm. But then you would call like, oh yeah, then sorry, never mind.
Is that still on 288? I mean, I guess at the moment I'm just trying to validate our hypothesis about the fact that it would get called more than once.
It makes sense, but
yeah, that's.
I mean,
so
you're not calling.
Yeah, but he's calling the YouTube one, which should mean that it would send to both.
Right. We don't need to do both a Hangout update and a YouTube update in order to encounter the error. We can encounter the problem simply by doing a YouTube update, right?
Okay.
Now, so the funny thing here is,
I mean, if that's if you're saying that the issue is that it basically ends up doing them both when you call for the YouTube.
Yes, which I think is the issue.
Which, yeah, that's the.
At least that's a
because that would mean
one of the issues.
YouTube video ID is present, but it would also like there's no guard clause that says like send this this message and don't come back to this method. Like, so then it would go back to the method and it would send the message to both channels.
And it would send
it failed. It failed.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing here is, so this is failing here. I'm saying that it should receive it with the hash including. This seems very odd, because what it's saying to me there is, it's now it never received that with those things. Whereas on this line, so we've expected the client to have received. Oh, I guess. Oh God, am I using the wrong thing? To have received. That's maybe the problem there. Eyes versus mocks. Raw. Why does everything? You see, the thing is that the amount of time invested in the tests actually, is it actually reaping dividend? Here we go. That is the problem that we suspected it exists, and now we've demonstrated that it exists. Would we agree?
I stopped paying attention. Sorry.
Yeah.
I
agree. I mean, you could imagine just manually testing everything.
Yeah.
Just throw it over the wall to you, and you spend like a couple weeks.
Well,
manually testing everything, or force your users to manually test for you.
Or, as opposed to spending a couple of weeks writing. I mean, that's the thing. The automated tests are supposed to, like, you spend 2 weeks running automated tests, and that is the value of, that gives you the value of like a year's worth of like manual testing. I'm just start to be skeptical. It feels like, we do like a lot of work of testing. I mean, some people would argue that the alternative is to like have a really coherent domain model that makes sense, and understanding that really well allows you to make changes and not rely on the tests all the time. But anyway, so that definitely seems to be our hypothesis. I mean, it's a long time to demonstrate that, but I guess, shall I just push those, and then we can see, does the change fix that?
So I guess that would be called like the platonic model.
It's called
Model of coding.
domain-driven design.
Yeah, no, but it's like I've never seen it pitched as an alternative to tests per se.
I see it pitched as an alternative test all the time. But I guess you exist in a sort of sheltered academic environment, isn't that right, Michael? So you're not working with like in companies. I don't know. Maybe you are. I don't know.
But I mean, I've never seen it like on the internet pitched that way as like.
Yeah,
or other people talking about it.
I guess the internet's really big. I've seen it quite a lot, but there you go. There's a big, big world out there. So now I need to find the other location where that goes. So there's this one.
I would be skeptical of that idea.
Okay. Skepticism is
even
important.
if you had a coherent, even if you could have a coherent domain model, it doesn't mean that your code reflects it.
Indeed not.
Like your actual implementation reflects it, and that seems to be.
Well, I should have. There we go, and that now passes there. I guess I should at the very least pong that over to you, Matt, or like there git -am test that we don't hit the.
Sorry. I was just noticing, like, it's something I was thinking about earlier in regards to this git pre-commit hooks, and like that you never capitalize your commit message. I was wondering.
No, I never capitalize my commit messages. Is that something? Is that a thing? I guess it must be a thing, or at least somebody's got a Rubicop rule for that, have they?
I felt like you. Are you being serious?
Yeah, I'm seriously. I mean, I think what are the things? Yeah, definitely. Like there are like things about stuff you should do in commit messages. Michael, did you tell me about capitalizing commit messages back? I feel there's something that you told me that I should be doing commit messages that I didn't do some time ago. I can't immediately remember what it was.
There's the creator of Linux's rules on how to. I mean, it looks like you're basically following them. Basically, it's use the verbal use like the active imperative tense, like test that.
Right, that was maybe something you pulled me up on previously. I seriously hadn't heard capitalize the commit messages before.
Oh, really? Okay.
I'm sure. As I was just saying to Michael, the internet is huge, and there's like hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of developers, and there's lots of like sub tribes. And sometimes we're the ones in the very small isolated tribe, and sometimes other people are. But yeah, I mean, who knows which are the bigger. But so you're encountering that quite a bit, are you, Matt? And people are saying capitalize the commit messages.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was like accepted.
It may be just myself and Michael, who are in our own small tribe, who are not aware. Oh, actually, Michael, you may well have heard of that, and. That's something you do.
I've heard of like not having it longer than 80 characters.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't fit on the terminal. But I think what you're talking about, Sam, is DDD as an alternative to TDD.
And I've heard some people espouse that,
but not. I'm not saying I'm espousing TDD per se. I'm saying regression tests.
Yeah, well, that's another.
I don't think DDD replaces regression tests, does it?
I think it can do for some people, and I know there are some projects that specifically don't have tests
at all
because they are just like sick of the. They're basically saying, look, we spend to do tests on this would take 8,000% as long as actually producing the code. The code's out in production; people are using it all the time. We have really good monitoring that tells us when things fail, and then we deal with that. But anyway, I'm not saying we should do that. I'm just
John Moorbacher told me that they had that at his place.
Yeah,
I mean they had like limited tests at his place, and shit broke all the time.
Oh yeah.
And he called it like your users as your testers model, like cynically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think there are. I'm not advocating it. I'm just talking. I think there are a lot of people doing it. But anyways, I'll just stop you. I'll just stop you there, Michael, and say to Matt, yes, I've pushed that up. But so, like as you were pointing out, Matt, there's there's the additional change that's needed now with the acceptance test. It has to like check that different methods get called. Is that right?
You pushed it up to upstream.
I pushed it up to my to what will be your upstream. So maybe you can pull that in. I've got to step away for a moment. I'll come back shortly, although I haven't got much time left. Sorry to interrupt, Michael. It's just I must go to the bathroom. I see Mike's joined us as well. Yeah, I'll be back.
Okay. That's supported and just.
Hi, Matt.
Hey, how's it going?
You guys still having fun?
Yes,
I'm
we're
jealous.
non-stop around here, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, so I just merged. I just did that for no reason. Okay, well, that's all right. I can easily change. What am I? That's not what I wanted to do. I pulled from upstream develop instead of pulling from. I guess that's not the end of the world, is it? Get pull upstream 2706 is what I wanted to do. So now I have this code base, which involves some tests. So I will run those, make sure they're still passing for me. Check out this. So, yep, I have these two things here. That's passing. So then we need to update the private events feature. It's actually the Hangout steps, I think, that needs to be updated. And if I spy on, then I want to be spying on this here would be premium. We need to spy on this, copy, and paste that here. And then copy that and paste that here. And here, no, here, and copy that and paste that here. Now it's spying on both those. And then the Hangout URL, no, the Hangout URL is posted only in appropriate private channels. So post pair programming notification not to have received. So this one here would need to change. And this one here I'll change first because I already have the link copied. This one here I'm going to copy and put that one here. And I think that is it. Cucumber, features, DevOps. DevOps, is it DevOps? It's not DevOps, it's events, private events feature. And I probably didn't need to run that whole thing. And I don't know. I feel like I want to change this here, but when I did change that locally, that caused failures in the RSpec tests. So I'm not sure if I should play around or not. Let's see. Well, Sam's not here, so I might as well have fun, right? Although, yeah, I don't think that'll affect the I have running in the background because it's not actually testing anything except for that it's hitting the method. This here, change this in here. Save that. Oh, look at that, failed. Oh, but that failed because of some failed to reach server. Poltergeist. Right, so I'll just run this here, 930, and that. Well, that's that test. It takes a while now. Okay, so that passed. So I think that means that all these will pass again. And can I run the RSpec at the same time? Should be able to, right? RSpec. That one there. And I think that is, let me see. That's what I want. Oh, it's annoying. There's something else that I would like to, I feel like I've set this as my default on all the different windows I have available, and it's still here, like, so annoying. Michael, do you know how to set this like project specific? Where I can tell it to use
Not really.
2.5.1 on, no?
No.
I mean, you know, this, I've looked up the syntax before and it says that I can set like my default. Yeah, so that's, for some reason that's causing these errors, which I think, you know, I can just revert it back to what's working and maybe refactor that later. It's probably the best thing to do because it sounds like that's what Sam wanted. So that's back to where it was, and refactor it. Make sure that's passing. I mean, you know, the RVM default should, yeah, so that's all passing. RVM list says that my default is that. The current and default. Oh, look at this. It says the default is that. So is it not? That's not the way to set default, apparently. Or yeah, it's not, huh? RVM default. If you would like to make one specific route, it'd be the default that is selected when you open a new terminal. Oh, there we go. RVM tag. Oh, there we go. That's how it works. Then if I say RVM list, then yes, current and default. Woohoo! Right, so those are all passing, and these are all passing. These are all passing. So that seems like a time to push up. Git add that, and git commit, and update acceptance tests. Oh, look at this here is that that those Git hooks, you know, that like as default it checks that the subject is capitalized, it checks that the subject line is a single line. It checks the text width, I think is like that 80 characters, and it checks for trailing periods in the subject. And then like this is the only one that I've gotten to fail so far. And it just like warns you. It doesn't actually commit. It doesn't keep you from committing, which is good. But like you can, you know, you can enable with this overcommit. You can enable like there's like overcommit minus L. Like there's all this list of things that are disabled that you can enable, like bundle check, bundle audit, bundle outdated, Credo, which is with Elixir, CSS lint, TS lint,
Right.
lint, all that kind of stuff. And I did I think I've gone like, I could do that, this overcommit run. And that, I think, because I don't have anything, I have most everything disabled, it doesn't really do anything. But like this post checkout, where I think this post checkout is like, would be helpful to like run bundle install, because like I can't think of any reason why someone would be like, no, I don't want to bundle install until I get a error message that I need to bundle install. Like, I'm not sure why you would want it post commit, but it is. So I was thinking that I need to push to mine because 2.7 there. So that's pushed up. And then come here. Oh, I need to put in a pull request for that. This test is regularly and causing any to rerun failed several times. Yes. CI request. Mike, you got the stuff voted on, right? Any plans to start working on this stuff? Interesting. Those are exciting plans, Mike. Mark! Muted mic. Muted mic. Muted mic. Mic is muted. All right. Well, that's exciting.
Hello.
Hey, there you are.
Yeah.
You're muted, no?
Yeah.
Are you thinking of working on that stuff you got voted on?
Hello.
Mike, can you hear us? Can you hear
Hello.
us? Mike, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
I was just asking if you
Yes.
had any plans to work on that that stuff you got voted on.
Yeah.
Did you have any plans to work on that? It looks like either Sam is back or someone has taken control of his computer. Maybe it's Michael in the background taking control of the computer. Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to start work on them. The two. Yeah, but I think I'll just pick one and start with then another.
Hello?
You're up for pairing on them, or what did you think?
I think so. I wanted to write some more tests for the for this premium mob feature, but I can do that after everyone goes to bed.
Okay. Yeah, I think we can do that. Set up on my. I was trying to make things work with the RFM thing.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
I definitely want to dive into that, but I'm
Yeah.
thinking
So
about
I think yeah, I think I'll give it a little pause. Then
I mean, yeah, it's up to you. I would like, selfishly, I'd like to have a look with you, but I like to have my, yeah, if it's something that you want to carry on, like I'm okay with that. Otherwise we could do some sprinting
no,
on.
I think yeah, I think we can do something else. I think it's perfectly fine if we do something else.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
especially since we haven't paired well, you joined some of the sprint sessions, but we haven't actually got a chance for you to have an issue and you do the driving and we pair together,
you're saying? I think you broke.
I'll send it to the chat, Mike.
Okay.
I should I want to mention that we have in an hour from now we have our daily pairing session that we are announcing there on the meetup. And yesterday a guy named Anthony joined Michael and I and Mike joined as well, who signed up for Agile Ventures through that that meetup. And I don't know if he's made his way to the Slack channel yet. We were encouraging him to go to the Slack channel. We shared with him like the course as well, so that he can learn some more Ruby. And hoping he joins us again today. And so yeah, I'm really encouraged by so far by the what we're getting back from that. So I'm going to try to be posting to that more often, like maybe different times during the day as well. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like the last session I had would be a better time for the people there because it's a little bit later in the day. But then like the last session I had, I was kind of like really tired and trying to figure out how to get that YouTube stuff to work, and got it working. But yeah, and I guess not in a way that, yeah, it was kind of a fragile. It wasn't really working in the way it should have been working. And I was really tired. And I didn't think I was going to be able to figure it out at all. But then, yeah, I was happy that I got it figured out to pass the test. But as we saw, you can get the test pass easily if you don't write performance tests.
So that's why I didn't join you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought it was.
You were worried I was too tired.
I thought it was too late, too. Like, and I didn't feel like spending late into the evening.
Yeah.
Working on it.
No, that's totally understandable. I mean, I think I would have done it faster if you would have been there, but then it's good not to, you have to remove the crutches from people sometimes. And I mean, I guess I'm kind of always coding like late like that, but maybe it's not the most productive thing to do. I mean, it did get, we did get the stuff but it did take us a little while to figure out how to get it to work in the specific way that we wanted it to work. Although, like, it totally makes sense that we just have two different methods that, so yeah, I'm not sure if it was helpful or not, but I had a good time trying to wrap my head around it. So yeah, don't know.
Yeah, well, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. I mean, I think it's interesting to reflect on that. The person who was like trying to fix the linking on the circles is even like doing something and it not quite working. Like, I think sometimes, not always, but sometimes it's easier to do that next bit if someone's already started and like done something, even if that thing doesn't work precisely okay. As I think there is one of the big things is the emotional cost of just getting started on something. And actually, I think it's easier to, in some cases, it's easier to join in on something that someone started rather than starting something yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends, like I sometimes I feel like it could take, you longer to try to figure out the mess that I created than it would be for you to just figure it out yourself. But like, I mean, the whole, if that were the case, like, you would probably do a lot more programming by yourself instead of trying to help get people upskilled to a place where, hopefully later on that will actually be more beneficial than it is now, So yeah, I guess it's, you can't really get caught up too much in overthinking things. Like I need to keep myself busy coding because that's how I learn. And
yep.
Like, hopefully it doesn't, take too much of your time or energy to fix things that I screw up,
Yeah, I think it's, you got, I mean, I think everybody's got to find their balance in their life about, whether they code at weekends or how late in the evening they go. And, like there are many unknowables. In the background
Sam,
here,
do you feel that I code enough?
I have no idea how much you code.
Do I code enough, Sam? I mean, do you feel that I do? Just in general?
I have no sense of how many hours coding you do a week. Like it could be as little as or like it could the average frequency of your coding could be close to 0, or it could be that you're coding almost every waking minute. I have no idea.
I think more the question maybe is that do you feel like he's contributing enough to the projects that you manage? I think is what he wants to know.
I don't know. Is that what you want to know, Michael?
Sure, that too.
Oh, okay.
That too.
Well, I guess I feel like you do make fantastic contributions when you do code. They're great contributions, and you also make great conceptual contributions. But I have this sense that you probably, I don't know if this is like your, like the other time commitments you have to other things you do in the week, or just lack of interest. I think you, it seems like you only want to code under sort of certain circumstances. They need to be sort of just right for you to really want to do lots of coding.
Oh, really? I mean, kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
I think I'm going to have to shut down my Visual Studio Code's kind of gone nuts. But, it's, yeah, I mean, I would love everybody to want to code more, to be more involved with Agile Ventures. I mean, Matt's on the extreme side where I'm hoping Matt continues to be involved in Agile Ventures for a very long time, and I don't want Matt to burn out, which I think is the danger. But yeah, I'd love everybody to be like, yeah. I mean, I would love to have the funding. I mean, Elon Musk got in touch yesterday and said, he'll think about it. So,
really,
maybe, yeah, no, he didn't, or at least only in my dreams. But maybe that's his new. Maybe he's invented a dream machine that he can talk to me through his dreams, and that's eventually that will lead to real money. So we'll see.
I got all excited about that, and then he crushed it.
sorry. I'm not very good at those kind of things.
Yeah, right. So that's not filtering out that information that.
Yeah, or I'm kind of like I've got this file which is then seeming very long. I mean, I guess it's a long file because it does like pull like all of the static pages from GitHub. So it's a long file, and VS Code is having trouble editing it. So I think I have deleted it a couple of times. I guess the thing I should be checking is presumably somewhere this is the code that Carl just added that must be in like features support that somewhere, not in the fixtures, but in the VCR, for example. Oh, no, that's interesting.
It's not there.
It's not there. That's strange, because I thought what I had just done is I thought that I had gone to develop, and I'd gone to Git, and I'd pull Origin. I think I probably
I guess that we didn't re-record that GitHub static pages because we just re-recorded because we didn't see that it was
yeah, I think probably that was the step that I failed to do. Yeah, and so then I should do that again, and then I should rerun it. But this one was not actually me. This was like, yeah, you wanting more information on understanding how the new static pages thing works, and me thinking rather than adding another markdown document to our badly organized docs folder, I would make the appropriate test, which we seem to be missing.
Yes.
I guess there I should go back over here and say, yes, it's now filtering that sensitive data, and hopefully then I can push it up. And then that, I guess that's then there for you to build on or not in the future, is where the status of that one is. I'm just kind of like,
we were talking about working on that one on Saturday, and there's also that I really don't want to get back in the, like, it took me a little bit of time to get that, like I put in that pull request for that redesign of the projects page, and then it took a while for it to like other stuff that were the priority of getting merged in first, and then it created conflicts which I had to work through, and now it's a place where we worked on it yesterday, and it would be nice to get your input on, like, we're trying to follow the wireframe, but I'm not like a design, that's not my strong suit, and Peter has offered to help out on that. He helped yesterday and also can on Saturday, but we were wanting maybe a little bit more direction or
sure, yeah. I mean, is it ready to merge in now?
I mean, it's ready to merge in, but I wouldn't do that because it's passing the test, but it's not ready to merge in.
Right. Yeah, well, that is, I mean, I've got a few minutes left, and we could look at that.
I can show you quickly what it looks like.
Please. Oh, cool. And is it also removing the list on the left?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Because it needs space. But, like, so that since yesterday, I've changed this to have the same background color as the members has.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But then it's like, it's cutting off information. Like, we don't know how it's going to look when we actually bring in, I guess I could do a rake, run the rake job. But, like, if this is going to end up dropping to 2 lines and there's, like, not very good padding.
Run which rake job?
The GitHub update rake job.
Oh, that updates the, like, the order of them based on the recent commits and stuff.
Yeah, and we'll, like, print, like, the date, here it's like
that would be a good thing to run. I mean, I guess it would also be good. I mean, I don't want to stop you sorting out the seeds file so that it's much better. We could also get you set. Maybe that's the better approach. I was just thinking, like, getting you set up with a dump of the production data so that you had that locally.
Yeah,
but
the thing is that with the wireframe, like, I have the wireframe here. So the wireframe is like, has basically just like the name, the title of the you can see that, the title, and then the URL, like the site URL, and then has these X's which presumably are images. So it's something that, like, Lena did for us, and that specific part of it, I don't remember if you've commented on, but, like, what would these images be? Like, would we have to get in contact with project managers and be like, hey,
many of the projects do have images associated with them at the moment that are displayed on the individual project pages. It would certainly, I think it would be a big step forward to have those images displayed there. So, but, that's another step. Go on, Michael.
Sam, you know how you're saying that it needs to be the right situation for me to code?
Yeah.
I was thinking about that, solving the very slow loading events page could be just an interesting situation.
Right.
I agree.
You mean that would be an interesting thing to work on, to code on?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I guess I've told you about my theory about how if we restructured it so that if we stored up to an event horizon, like the events in the database, that we could basically make it so that it was quick to read the future events.
I was also thinking perhaps we could, like, there's probably a way, like, I was thinking I would have to profile it basically. The thing that I'm wondering is whether it's slowed, if it's the slowness is basically on the query to the database, or is it on the view rendering?
Right. I mean, I think
because either of those things can be cached
with
Rails.
Yeah,
There's
no.
like
Well,
technology to
Matt
cache
and
those
I
things.
were discussing the caching earlier on today. I mean, I think I did profile it previously, and I think that the problem is not that it's not the query to the database. It's
the view.
It's the processing that it does, having got the data from the database, is the thing that takes the time. And yeah, it could be caching. What I was saying to Matt earlier was, like, there's two really hard things in computer science and software engineering, which is one is naming things and two is cache invalidation. But yeah, I mean but potentially, yeah, Rails 5 apparently has a much, very sophisticated caching system. I guess that would, you'd still need to do the expensive thing once, but then having cached it, you would then set it up so that the cache was invalidated when people edited events.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And then the editing is obvious. Is the premise is that the editing perhaps is much less frequent than the viewing, and therefore the caching pays off.
Yeah, I guess my fear would be that the caching is like another somewhat complex thing, and so we've got like a complex event system that we then add another thing to kind of manage, when the cleaner thing would be to make the event system cleaner. Although I totally understand that actually trying to make the event system cleaner could be like an endless uphill task. That's just like, why would anybody want to do that? Why not just add caching if that could be got to? So it's certainly worth experimenting with the caching.
Right. I mean, in terms of making the event cleaner, I'm just wary of like basically breaking out another table and stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, well, I think the thing is we've got an existing table of event instances.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing where I would be worried is that, like, we've got some very convoluted, gnarly event code, and like the process of getting a different design of it working. Like once you start digging into it, you start finding like, oh, okay, so there's that and there's that and there's that, and then there's like another 27 things, and actually even just working out a new design that would be kind of, is it even possible to get a new design that would be clean and would meet all of the existing needs? But yeah, I mean, it's sort of the same with things like what we were looking at before with the Slack service. It's I mean, what in the ideal world we'd be like being paid full time at like really nice chunky, Facebook senior developer salaries, and we could spend 2 or 3 months coming up with alternate designs, bashing it around, no pressure.
What's a really chunky Facebook?
Oh, like $400,000 a year. So
okay.
We hear.
Is that in reais or in dollars? Or
no, that's in dollars, I think.
Okay, cool.
Anyway, I mean, the dangers, of course, Matt, will lose you to the lure of Facebook. It's just, I mean,
it wouldn't be
your level of enthusiasm and engagement and stuff. It's like we're gonna have to work out a way to pay you a lot more. But anyway,
since it is a charity, we could fall short of that.
I mean, I hope once you've got your incredibly well-paid Facebook developer job, you'll come back and spend a couple of hours with us a week or whatever to keep us ticking over and send some people our way. And the in the background, so I've pushed up. I think now is it worked? So this is this. Oh god, I've got to load the diff. Go on. Yeah, so that's clean now. Sorting GitHub pages and all, but that doesn't need to be merged in the right. So we've got so then go on.
Do you want to merge in that intermittent failing test stack?
I do.
Failures happening because of it.
That screen. Let's merge that in. That looks.
I mean, I don't know if there's presumably there's a way we can check to see if it actually skipped it.
Probably, but I'm not. You would have to dig through the semaphore log to work that out. I guess the premium mob events. While I was so you updated the acceptance tests. I guess the semaphore is failing there for that, but maybe that's another intermittent one. Sorry, I'll bring what I'm doing into the main screen here.
Yeah, like I put in a ticket to refactor that Slack service at least like a first pass at like. Yeah, so it's failing for the same reason as
That same an early one. So I want to now this in this thing here. What I want to be able to, it used to offer me all the time the ability to like merge in the branch to it, but it's not offering me that option.
I can merge it in and push it
Yeah, I
up.
mean, but I guess almost if that was the only one that failed, then I can just squash and like
Yeah.
And I like we know it's that one thing. The other ones all passed. That failed on the second try. We know we were addressing that. I'm tempted to just squash and merge this in. Let's yeah. 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 I mean, then it's this thing of like, you know, should I go to all the like testing it all on like the staging Slack instance? And gosh, that's a whole paraphernalia. But let's even see if we can get it to the staging server, and I'll see what mood I'm in.
The thing is that like if you put it on, like I guess there's always a risk of, but if you put it into production, like, and we test it and it like, I guess it could go haywire. No.
I mean, it could. I mean, I could test it from, you know, I mean, anyway, I think like let's get it onto the staging server and then we'll look at it. So then I guess probably the last thing I will do here. So on this is that I mean, yeah, it would be lovely to move forward with this. I mean, that like you were showing what it kind of looks like. You could slap screenshots of that in there. Is there? You're saying it's not. It's like it probably shouldn't be merged in as it is, but you're looking for a sort of high level direction. So
yeah, like I mean, I guess like the high level direction that we're going with is this wireframe that we did.
Right, which is great, yeah.
And so, like, I guess like you said, that there are images for projects, like a lot of them have, and
yeah, some but not all. And I mean, it would be good if we're displaying it like that, you know, and there could be a default image that's displayed if you don't have a thing, and then you know that would encourage we try and get more folks to show them. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so like in this case, it would show this,
right?
Yeah, and for like there's as well, and then have a default. And then, like, does that make sense to just have like the title and a URL?
The URL would be like what would the URL be to?
Well, here it's like harrowcn.org.uk.
Oh, right. It would like actually the running production server.
Yeah.
Conceivably, I mean, not all the projects have something like that people can go to. Some of them do. Some of them don't. I mean, it's very difficult to see that what's there at that resolution. But you know, I guess I've got all of the information.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if they don't have a URI, then it could be something that like leads to the project. I don't know.
I mean, maybe that it went to the. I mean, that seems slightly like. I mean, I guess what I would imagine is that sensibly, rather than having URIs to some other stuff, whatever they are, that we kind of copy the members thing in that we have, you know, an image and we have like a little bit of information. Maybe as I think we've set up in here, like clicking on one of those bits of information would take you to a sub part of the detailed project page, like because the project pages themselves have got like, you know, activity and so on, that, you know, to go to these different things there. But
I mean, that's the other thing is like, would we make the whole thing clickable where they click on it and it goes to a show page for the event project, or title?
Yeah, that's what I would very certainly do that. Yeah, I'd make it that it always goes. I would follow the pattern that we have on the members, that clicking anywhere takes you to the project page, and perhaps, and then that's like a future feature. Would we want to have some of those things go through to perhaps different tabs on the projects? But that I'd put that off into the future completely. I mean, as I guess, yeah, what we're like, that design is basically saying, yeah, let's remove the like information like last update in GitHub created 2 years ago and the subtext or whatever, and let's focus on having a bright image, the name of it, and then possibly like I would have said
maybe
probably
just
rather like rather than the URL, if we had the like these things, like so that the effectively the it was like that, but with Wiki.edu as a size that makes it a nice square, and the name, and then those things underneath centered. Yeah, that would be great. I mean, I guess and the default ordering of them would again be based on last update in GitHub. So that's what you're imagining, so that the more active ones are closer to the top.
Yeah.
That sounds wonderful.
Cool. Awesome.
Are there any other questions for moving forward on that one?
No, I think that's enough. I think Saturday we can work on that.
Wonderful. Ooh, pull across from Nick coming in.
I guess though that so I guess for the rest of the week then, because that one that you create the acceptance test for, like maybe I should go pairing on that before Saturday, and then I can save this to work on with Peter on Saturday, because that one seems like it's kind of a priority.
I mean, this is sort of. Yeah, I mean, they're both, the projects page should look better. This one is kind of like, it's sort of a convenience and consistent thing. So it's kind of like a little bit of a scraggly edge that could trip someone up at some point in the future.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to an endpoint that works, but it's like the wrong. It has
and there's so like, the majority of the users of the site are not going to notice it, and it's just like it's something that should be cleaned up, but it's not like huge high priority. But I mean, having got it sorted, it's
the higher priority is that for those those
although it sort of feels like those are things that perhaps no one really wants to work on in my absence, and because they're like connected to so many other little things, and so maybe we won't get to work on them this week. But that's I think it's I was definitely feeling like this week let's try and give over to serving what people want to work on rather than what I'm necessarily worried about, because there's plenty of time for what I'm worried about. So I think then, I mean, there's all these pull requests. I think
we're keeping you busy with just like reviewing stuff.
Yeah, no, but I was totally up for. But look at this, we've got the please check. We've paid down some stuff. We've got some things moved in. Yeah, I think I'm going to call that day for me. Keep on having fun for as long as it's fun. And remember, when the fun stops, stop coding. They have a thing here in the UK. It's like gambling. When the fun stops, it's like like these obsessive, addictive gamblers.
I should figure out how to have fun more often. Right? That's the.
Do you not have fun often, Michael?
I mean, with coding for AV, should find out how to have more fun more often.
I think that's true for everybody in the world. Everybody in the world should work out a way so that they spend as much time as possible having as much fun as possible coding on AV and contributing to AV in all sorts of ways.
I mean, I feel like coding with me is a good first step to having fun. Well,
absolutely. Totally huge. Good stuff. I gotta go to supper. See you all tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you. I think that's what you meant, right, Michael? Is that you had such fun yesterday that if it were only like that every day.
Something like that. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I had fun. I mean, I could understand why it wouldn't be as fun for you as it was for me, but So I guess I'm tempted to stop the broadcast here because it's been quite a while.
Felt like I was practicing mentoring skills, I guess, more not knocking you, but more like I was kind of showing you, like directing you a little more about how to do things easier, what we should be doing there.
Yeah, I feel like as well. It wasn't so much you coding, so
yeah.
I was joking a little bit about that, but I would be interested in exploring how we could do things in alternative ways where you were coding and I was just kind of paying attention I'm not sure that would be fun for you either, because it would, you know, obviously, as you being a lot more experienced than I am, there is like that knowledge sharing that would, you know, would be just kind of me asking annoying questions sometimes and just trying to follow along with what you're doing. But yeah, like, I mean, if you're open to it, I'm always keen to pair.
But they say though that you know, asking questions solidifies your knowledge, I guess. Answering questions.
Yeah, I mean, there's a triangle or a pyramid that I've seen, that when I used to teach, I used to talk to people about that like talks about how, like, if you can teach someone else about it, it means that you have to have like a higher level understanding of it yourself, because otherwise you can't teach people. And like, I've certainly found that to be true. Like, just going through like the you know, the course by myself, like there's some things that maybe I don't know exactly the answers to, but I get by and make it work and get the test passing and, you know, get the auto grader happy. But then, like, you know, being there on the weekend collaboration, people will be asking me questions, and sometimes I don't really know how to answer them. And I, you know, didn't have like a high level interest in figuring out the answer to them before, you know, trying to pass the information on to somebody else, you know? So yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, I'll stop the broadcast, and then Mike, you're going to create another. You're going to create an event for us to pair on the drop down.
Okay, cool. At the top of the hour.
Yeah, that sounds good actually, because the top of the hour is when the meetup starts. So
Okay.
I mean, you know, we're going to miss the RFM meeting, but I'm okay with that for today.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay, cool.
And yeah, Michael, feel free to join us if you're up for it.
All right. Bye.
Thank you. See ya.